An exceptional light beer with a rich, smooth taste. By the new Chrysler Corporation. For 1982, Chrysler has the cars, the quality, and the prices America needs. By the twin-action Norelco Rototrack Razor. And by Visa, the most widely recognized name in the world for travel, shopping, and cash. Candlestick Park, San Francisco, an exciting place this 1981 National Football League season as the 49ers, with a 7-game win streak on the line and an 8-2 record, go against the defending AFC Central champions, the Cleveland Browns. This is Don Criqui with John Brody. The Browns in white and orange ready to kick it off. There is rookie Steve Cox from Arkansas. Bill Ring is back with Amos Lawrence, and here is Amos Lawrence taking it for the 49ers at the 5, the 10, the 20, not done as he crosses the 30, and Lawrence, one of the smallest players on the field, at 172 pounds, gives the 49ers the good run back. 28 yards, and here comes Joey Montana out to lead the 49ers on offense. He grades out as the best passer in the National Conference. You see his runners and his wide receivers catching a lot of balls as always. Solomon and Clark. Charles Young probably having his best year yet at tight end. Offensive line has gotten better and better. A great one at right guard, and Randy Cross. Farnhurst, the right tackle, is also a very strong player. 49ers go to the run on 1st and 10. Walt Easley, a rookie free agent fullback out of West Virginia, takes the ball ahead and gets it from across the 35 for a gain of about 4 yards. Defensively for the Cleveland Browns, they go with the 3-4 with Marshall Harris, Henry Bradley, and Lyle Alzado in the defensive front three. The backers left to right, Don Good, Robert L. Jackson, Dick Ambrose, and leading tackler Clay Matthews. The secondary has Ron Bolton and rookie Hanford Dixon at the corners. Autry Beeman starts at free safety for Darden, and the strong safety Clarence Scott. On 2nd and 6, Niners go back to the run. Not much there, though. The Browns fill very quickly. Walt Easley again gets the call. The playing field here, John, has been a problem. There's a lot of rain in the last few days in San Francisco, and this has been resodded since the baseball giants left.
And the problem right now is that the 49ers are sitting in that spot. That is the area. You can see all those little dirt marks. This was freshly seeded. During the warm-ups, nothing happened. They've run 2 plays, and they've got 20 pock marks out there. So
that area has all been reseeded. That's right, in the past week since the Atlanta game. Now it's 3rd and 5, so Montana ready to put it up for the first time. Checks his receivers, delivers a strike. It's going to be perhaps a little short of a first down. We'll have to spot the ball.
I think they're going to give it to him, Donnie. It looks to me like where the man put his foot, they've got it by about 6 inches. Dwight Clark. Bill Walsh said he is one of the most effective wide receivers he has ever seen. Now, he's got a lot of little doodad plays that he calls on a guy like Clark to execute for him. Clark just week in and week out puts out on every play, comes up with a big catch when they need it, and he just got him their first down.
Had a great season a year ago. Also did Dwight Clark. Caught 82 passes. Broke a team record here at San Francisco. And the 49ers do get the first down. So San Francisco converts the 3rd down and 5. The divisional standings. Right now, Cincinnati's closing in on an 8-3 record. They're routing the LA Rams at the moment in Cincinnati. Buffalo's losing. And in the National Conference West, San Francisco with that 3-game lead with 6 to play. Of course, Los Angeles and Atlanta both being beaten badly today by Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. On 1st and 10, Montana throws over the middle, and the ball is caught by Paul Hofer, and he's down to the 41-yard line. Paul Hofer catches the ball over the middle, and the 49ers take it over midfield with a 16-yard gain.
All right, Joe Montana has been a first-half quarterback all year, and generally it's been because they get a lead, he lets his defense take over. That's a luxury most quarterbacks don't have. We take a look at Montana's stats, his 62.8 percentage. He hasn't thrown much in the second half. They haven't scored many, but their defense has taken over. He does come out of the box firing.
49ers like to throw the ball, and they do it with precision. Now they go back to the run on a first down play. Straight ahead goes that power-driving fullback who came in as a free agent, Walt Easley from West Virginia, 6'1", 226-pound back. Driving straight ahead on a 1st and 10 play. He got 6, so it's 2nd down and 4 now.
Don, isn't it funny how when you complete a couple passes, You run the same play, you couldn't make it back to the line of scrimmage on, and all of a sudden you've got the linebackers a little concerned. You pick up 7.
And the 49ers moving on their first possession. Sam Rutigliano concerned about his Browns defense at the moment. Second down, a long 3. Here's the pitch back, right back to Easley, running hard. Well, Easley puts his head down. It looks like he has another San Francisco first down as he drives the ball down to the 31-yard line. Hard hit put on him there by Robert L. Jackson. Autry Beeman also coming up on the play. Well, they have the ball. He has the first down.
We mentioned earlier that this is a must game for Cleveland, and not necessarily to win their division. But when you see a team like Buffalo getting beat, Miami now in a battle with Oakland, but they were getting beat badly. You're talking about all the contenders in the AFC that are struggling to get in the playoffs. 9 and 7 could very easily put an AFC team in the playoffs, and that's what Cleveland right now is striving for.
Cleveland is not out of it, as Sam Rutigliano says, John, until a mathematician sits down and pencils it out and figures we can't win our division or can't make the playoffs. Then we'll believe it. But he said nobody on this team, not a player, not a coach, is conceding anything. First and 10, 49ers back to the run. Good blocking from the offensive front. Then the Cleveland linebackers close. Johnny Davis, a big power back from Alabama, who came here this season in a trade with Tampa Bay, runs the ball and got ahead for about 2 yards, almost 3. Henry Bradley and Dick Ambrose knocked him down. Lots of switches in that 49er backfield. Is that how the plays are sent in?
Yeah, they are, and they have so many different formations, and they have so many different type talents. Okay, and they try to utilize them to the fullest. When they put Paul Hofer in the ball game, they'd like to throw him the football.
He's in there with Earl Cooper. That's Cooper in motion. Here's a hard throw by Montana, but goes to the wrong side of his receiver. And so it's going to be 3rd down and 7 now for San Francisco. Dwight Clark was the intended receiver. Dwight got it all going for him. Caught 57 balls now at that first reception today, averaging almost 14 yards a catch. 2 touchdown receptions. His girlfriend's Miss Universe.
He's quite a guy.
He must be quite a guy.
I've just noticed him on the last 3 running plays, blocking downfield. Okay, that doesn't do you any good unless your back breaks through the line of scrimmage. But if he does, he's got somewhere to go.
This is the 9th play for the Niners in this drive. Opening drive after the first kickoff of the game. 3rd down and 7, and Montana takes a long look, unloads to Earl Cooper. He breaks ahead, but the Cleveland Browns make the knockdown short of the first down. Robert L. Jackson slow getting up. He was the first to make the hit on big Earl Cooper.
Here's a decision time already for Bill Walsh. 4th down and about 2.5 yards to go from the end zone. Joe Montana's got a man in motion. Tries to get it down the field to Clark. Cannot do so. Comes off to Cooper. Now it's all the back's problem, and it's tough to get by Clay Matthews, and Robert L. comes up and puts on the finishing touches.
4th down, and Raymond Wersching is on the field. He has hit 8 of 11 field goals this season. He's a power kicker. He hits the ball hard. You know, John, better than any of us, that wins at this stadium are tough. Raymond Wersching knows them, though, but he didn't get enough distance on it.
And that's the reason they almost didn't try the field goal. They know field goals are tough from certain spots on the field. That was a tough spot. He thought he should have made it, but when you slip, I'll tell you, if you have no footing, how do you get any leverage? Never had a chance.
So it wasn't long enough. Then the first scoring attempt comes up empty, and Cleveland takes over the football when we come back to Candlestick. Mundrum, 49ers had the ball for 5:08 on that first drive. No points, though, and now Cleveland takes over the ball with Ryan Sipe at quarterback. Rucker goes on the left flank, and Ricky Feature, starting for Dave Logan, is on the right flank. Pitch back. The fullback, Mike Pruitt, runs the ball. 49ers close down the run. Archie Reese, the middle guard, was on the stop along with Lawrence Pillar, 65. Ryan Sipe in his backfield has the 2 Pruitts, as all the Browns fans know, not related. Greg Pruitt, the little back from Oklahoma. Mike Pruitt, the fullback from Purdue. Feature and Rucker, the wideouts, and Ozzie Newsome, a great pass catcher from Alabama, tight end. 48 receptions coming in. Dave Logan with a hamstring pull, held out at least at the start of the game. Deacon, Jackson, Sullivan, Delamalu, and Rison, the offensive lineman for Cleveland. One of the 49er coaches said they've got a bunch of guys named Joe on that offensive line. Browns took note of that. 2nd down and 2. Brian Sipe stands in, throws in the flat. Ball comes in high to Ozzie Newsome. So it'll be 3rd down and 8 for Cleveland. Rain is falling lightly here in San Francisco now. It's been on and off the last few days.
Don, we've got an excellent matchup in Willie Harper, number 59, and Ozzie Newsome. He'll be sitting there putting as much pressure as he can on him all day long. This is a simple zone, so you don't see him man-to-man. But Willie Harper is a perfect example of a guy who's been around here for 8 years with a bunch of guys named Joe, as somebody described earlier, who really didn't get himself into a position to exploit his ability. Since this, Bill Walsh says he's playing as good a strong linebacker as anybody in the game, and I've always known he was a good player. He was the only guy that was here when I left.
Third down and 8. 49ers come with a big rush. Here is Rucker going for the ball, but it caroms off his fingertips. One of those rookie defensive backs, Carlton Williamson, was defending on the play, so the Browns failed to get a first down in 3 tries from scrimmage. And now they'll punt the ball back to San Francisco. Dwight Hicks will go back. San Francisco could come out of this with very excellent field position.
And more important than that, Don, excellent field position is being out of that slop.
Yeah.
If the Browns picked up a first down, they could have put him back in it, which makes it tough to operate. This way, it would take a 50-yard kick to get him there.
Steve Cox, the rookie punter, ready to hit it into a swirling wind. He does well to get it away and gets down a fairly long spiral. Takes a Cleveland hop. It rolls all the way inside the 20 and down inside the 10-yard line. So Steve Cox might have gotten off his best punt of the year when you consider all the factors, the big rush, the fact it was almost blocked, and the ultimate yardage is 66. Takes an athlete to get it away, and that's what Cox is. So he gets the Browns out of a hole. 49ers take over, but deep in their area. Number 12 doing his thing here at Candlestick. John, you were really packing them in those days.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we used to put the fans on their seats.
Here's an old friend coming after you, Merlin Olsen. As it's a big day, a return for John Brody. You've not done a game here in the 8 years you've been broadcasting for NBC. You're coming at the right time.
Well, that's the only time we can get here, Don, is when they're playing as well as they have been. And now they've got their back up against the wall. A great kick by Cox sits them back on the 9-yard line. That's a tough place to operate.
Cox got off a 66-yarder. 49ers go to the run, and here comes a penalty marker in as the carry is out across the 10-yard line. Johnny Davis, the big power back, takes it.
Simple little holding penalty. Now they're about 5 yards deeper in their own territory.
The famed Galileo High School grads right down a couple of booths away. O.J. Simpson. Back home to watch these Niners. Of course, O.J. closed out his career here at Candlestick. He was probably the reason they ripped up the field, wasn't it? The artificial turf. Joe Thomas wanted to give him a softer track.
I think all tracks were just a little too stiff for him by the time he got out to San Francisco.
Holding offense number 56. First down.
He'd done his work. He never misses a ball game anymore, though, Donnie. He's here every week.
Well, there's 59,000 here every week now. This building is sold out. And now Montana play faking from the end zone. He has a problem, and he might be intentionally grounding the ball. He is. That's an automatic safety in the end zone. A 2-point lead now for the Cleveland Browns.
It's a bad way to start, and the 49ers haven't been starting this way. He tried to get the ball all the way down to Solomon. His pass protection broke down just a little bit. That's a 2-point mistake. Had Joe thought about it a little bit earlier, I don't think he got a good grip on the football. He wanted to go down the field to Solomon. You can see him pumping up. Doesn't feel like he can get it down there. Thought he could get away from the defensive lineman. Couldn't. That's 2.
So a safety is the first points on the board, and the Browns take the lead. They'll take it any way they can get it. The Cleveland Browns have lost so many tight games this year. Last year, as you're pointing out, John, they won the close games, and now this year it has gone the other way. Their 4-6 record could very easily be a winning record. And the way things are developing today, they're far from being out of the playoff picture. With Buffalo losing, the days in, you got to recheck it all, and we still have 5 weeks to go.
Hey, look at Bob McKittrick, the guy with the bald head. He's the offensive line coach. It's funny, you know, he's got those earphones on. Maybe he's got 4 ears on his head because they're not going over the 2 I see. He never wears a jacket. It doesn't matter what the weather. You can see him on the North Pole. Now they got a lot of funny guys out here in San Francisco. This is Jim Miller, who's the punter. He doesn't wear a shoe. We got guys that don't wear jackets.
Jim gets himself a free kick. Not that he wanted one. Came as the result of the safety. He gets Gets off a good one, a high one into the wind, carries way downfield, and Dino Hall takes it for Cleveland at the 25-yard line. Straight ahead goes Dino, across the 40 and out to the 43. Defensively, San Francisco has improved vastly this year. 49ers have taken a defensive unit that was really porous last year and now put together a unit that's given up very few points, particularly in recent weeks. We'll watch them attack Cleveland after this.
Radio Shack.
5-yard line out close to the 47.
Don, this is the day when Mike Pruitt and Greg Pruitt know that they have to have a good day. And when you talk about horses for courses, I think Greg Pruitt might be considered and might be the best muddy weather running back in the game. You remember all the great games he's had. Generally, it's been in inclement weather. He's certainly got that condition today. And if you see a guy that can do it when it's going bad, number 34 may get a lot of play.
They didn't have Greg Pruitt last week at Denver. His knee was acting up, but he's as good a pass catcher coming out of the backfield as there has been. Great hands, and Sipe will go to him often today. It's 2nd down and 7. Now they go to Greg Pruitt on a run. Lost the handle, did well to recover the ball, and gets back to the 45-yard line. He lost a yard or two as Carlton Williamson, strong safety, the rookie from Pittsburgh, was busting through.
Well, it always works this way, Don. As soon as you say something about somebody, if he gets this ball cleanly, he might be able to make the break right at the point of attack and do all right. He's got to put his attention on the ball, which he did not get cleanly. As a result, he can't crack through the hole and gets brought down easily. Carlton Williamson, as you said, is one of the toughest hitters in this game, and he's only a rookie.
49ers had a great draft. Went for defensive backs, and every one they got, 3 in the first 3 rounds, have been outstanding. They're all starting. Ryan Sipe on 3rd and 7. Fires. Man is open. Rucker catches the ball for a first down for the Browns at the 36-yard line of San Francisco. So Sipe throws a 19-yard strike. Well done.
Don, I do not get privy to the game plans, but I do know that in watching the 49er defense, they are laying back to the inside in a man-to-man coverage, it appears to me, even though they're playing zone. The 2 corners, Salad and Martin in this case, and on the other side, remember, lots in the middle in the nickel defense. And when you're playing on the other side, they both stand to the inside. I think you'll see a lot of sidelines is what I'm saying today.
First and 10, the Browns go to the run. Mike Pruitt takes the ball right up the middle inside the San Francisco 35-yard line down to the 32. Hacksaw Reynolds, 64, made the knockdown. I got some good people in here, and they weren't expensive. Reynolds came in, I don't know why, but he was a free agent at Los Angeles. They just flat let him go.
Tell you, they've got some very good people on the offensive line for Cleveland also. So if you're talking about being put up against a test, you couldn't find a better one.
Browns now, after the 4-yard gain, have 2nd down and 6. Hand off to Mike Pruitt. Takes it up the middle, and he comes inside the San Francisco 30. As we saw earlier, the footing is treacherous on this wet field with the resodded field, and field goals, even from in close, are no sure thing. Worshing's as good as there is. Bill Walsh waited a long time to get this head job. And what results?
Well, he took it, and he knew what. I think when you know what is needed and you go about not pushing the panic button in order to obtain it, it can happen eventually. I think it's happening a little quicker than Bill expected, and I don't think he thinks his team is quite as good as their record right now.
3rd down and 2 for Cleveland. To Mike Pruitt. San Francisco makes the stop.
Right now is a situation where I do not think Sam Rutigliano will kick a field goal because they're in the slop.
Yep.
We saw what happened to Worshing on the good part of the field. I think they've got to have a go at it.
You use the term loosely, good part.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the good part.
That's for sure.
This is very tough stuff. No footing. Turf comes up with every stride. They're not even considering a field goal. It's 4th down and 2.
Horses are running on an off track today in San Francisco, and it's now 4th and 2 for the Cleveland Browns. Sipe sets up, he throws. Greg Pruitt has the ball. He ducks ahead and gets a first down.
There's a good play by a heady halfback. He knows if he tries to cut back underneath, he may get away for a big gain. If he fails to do so, they don't even pick up the first down. He takes his lumps, picks up the first, and they've got it in very good position.
So the Browns come up with a big 4th down play. It was interesting, John. Brian Sipe was felt very good about playing on this field. He said it gives the passing game a big advantage to be in an off field.
You bet, because you can't get much of a pass rush. And if there's one factor that San Francisco has relied on, it's a great pass rush.
Well, they've had a great pass rush since Fred Dean's come in. 16 sacks in the 5 games since he's been here. First and 10. Sipe takes a look. Here's a long ball. Rutgers going for it. Diving attempt, and it's incomplete at the goal line. Second down and 10 for Cleveland at the 22-yard line of the 49ers. Cleveland leads the game 2-0. A safety signaled against the 49ers when Joe Montana intentionally grounded the ball when he was caught in the end zone. Ryan Sipes had that right arm moving.
You bet. And you know what's really happening is in the NFC, those stats are picking up also. You see 4 and 5 players in the NFC that are quarterbacks throwing the ball 350, 370, 380. That hasn't happened until the last couple of years with the rule changes. And I think they're better because of it.
Wide receivers can run free in the secondary, and now they send 2 men out wide to the left. Newsom splits out wide to the right. Second and 10, they go to the draw, and Mike Pruitt takes a linebacker with him. Bobby Leopold is hauled along with big Mike Pruitt down to the 17-yard line. They've played against each other many times, and Leopold was at Notre Dame, and Mike Pruitt was at Purdue. Now it's going to be third down coming up for the Cleveland Browns, the 16-yard line of San Francisco.
The only difference between Pruitt and Leopold is that Pruitt was drafted up there in the upper echelon, and Leopold was a walk-on. Now, Walsh has a few of those, and they're playing well for him.
49ers really change their defense around often. They go with 4 defensive ends as 4 down linemen to rush on a passing down like this one. Third and 5, big rush. Sipe gets it away. It's incomplete. 49ers really hitting, coming up on the pass rush and popping in the secondary.
Nobody told Dwayne Boyd you weren't supposed to be able to get to the quarterback. They had a little game on, forced Sipe to throw the ball before he wanted. Now they will try and kick a field goal because they can get some footing.
The game you're referring to, John, is the stunning where they change their pass rush.
That's right. And the 49ers use a lot of them. And all you have to do is confuse one lineman, and one defender comes free.
Now in 4th and 5, the Browns are going to try it. Paul McDonald holding. The 33-yard attempt. Barr gets it up, but he is wide to the left. Matt Barr, who you'll recall after he was cut by Pittsburgh Steelers this year, spent some time with San Francisco, has enough distance, but he's wide of the mark. And so, with 3:15 to play in the first quarter, it's Cleveland 2, 49ers nothing. The troops out here trying to make some adjustments. You can see what the playing field is like.
These guys have done about all that they humanly can to keep this field in condition. It's really, it's been an embarrassment to a lot of people in San Francisco, and it would only take a decision to change it.
Going to be some planting going on when the season comes. Right now, 1st and 10 for San Francisco. Montana throws the outlet to Paul Hofer. He got some room to go, and Hofer's across the 30. Drives the ball out to the 35-yard line.
Don, let me tell you, Hugh McElhaney was the only other back in 49er history that ever got the people out of their seats as soon as he got his hands on the ball. Number 36 has twice won the Lenny Eshmon Award, which goes to the most valuable player for the 49ers. That's when they weren't even going well. Now he's come back from a leg injury, and every time he gets in the ball game, it pumps the people up. And I think it has some effect on his teammates also.
Paul Hofer, a runner out of Ole Miss, just picked up 15 yards. A big play for the 49ers. First down. Now here's Ricky Patton running wide. Cooper blocks, but the Cleveland Browns fill very nicely on defense. Turn it all back in, and there's very little gain on the play. It'll be second down. Look at the scores today. Pittsburgh a winner and goes to 6 and 5 on the year. Oakland routs the Dolphins at the Orange Bowl, giving Buffalo an excellent chance to move up, but they didn't. Denver 24-7 victory over the Buccaneers at Tampa Bay. The Broncos go to 8 and 3 heading to Cincinnati. The Jets finally beat New England for the first time since 1975 at Foxborough. And Buffalo, in a state of near collapse today, shut out by the lowly Cardinals 24-0.
Neil Lomax started that ball game, remember.
The rookie out of Portland State. Here's a swing pass. Montana on 2nd and 9 goes out to Earl Cooper. And the big back from Rice takes the ball across the 40 and out to the 42-yard line. The 1 o'clock games in the East and the Midwest, the finals coming in. Philadelphia wins again, 9 and 2 on the year. Baltimore now loses 10 in a row. 1 and 10. Cincinnati moves to 9-3 on the year, or 8-3 on the year, with a 24-10 win over the Rams today. LA drops to 5-6. 49ers like those results.
Well, they've got a situation where they can get to a 4-game lead with 5 left, and
Packers win their 3rd in a row. Bart Starr hanging in. Over the middle goes Montana. Dwight Clark makes the catch on 3rd down and 3. There's a gain of 6 yards on the play, a first down for San Francisco. Kansas City, very much a playoff contender in the AFC West, leading Houston right now, 17-3. And in the first quarter, the Cowboys, as good as any club in the league right now, leading the Detroit Lions 7-0 at the Silverdome. And the Giants are up on Washington 7-0 in the first quarter.
And while we're doing all the scores, Montana's just thrown 3 little screen passes, dink passes, 1 to Dwight Clark for another first down. They picked up 2. They're doing the things you can do on a wet field.
6 of 8 Montana is. Now he's 7 for 9. He goes to Ricky Patton on a first down play. It's another first down for San Francisco.
We're taking a look at Montana. What he does as soon as every play is over, he takes a look to the sideline. Okay, they don't have a shuttle system. He goes to the quarterback to get the signal. This is just excellent execution. You take a look at Montana, he can throw from any position. And when a quarterback can throw the ball from almost any position, he has a lot of flexibility. He can go to a lot of different receivers. He can make decisions at the last second, and he does it effectively.
Sam Rutigliano, Coach of the Year in many polls last season after his 11-5 year, watches his Cleveland defense now. 49ers put people in motion and go to Hofer, so quick out of the blocks. Hofer comes out of those blocks like a quarter horse out of the gate, sprints ahead inside the 40 and down close to the 35-yard line. 5-yard gain on first down. It'll be 2nd down and 5. It's amazing that Hofer's even playing football this year, John, after the knee injury he had.
Not many people figured he would, but I know he thought he would. And next year he'll be back to normal, and things will be looking up backwise.
Looked pretty good right there. That's the end of the first quarter. Gun sounds, an unusual first quarter score. Cleveland's in the lead 2-0, but the San Francisco 49ers are driving right now. We'll be back.
Deliver the signal to Montana to keep him in the game, understand the game plan, and make sure he doesn't go to sleep.
Walt Easley runs the ball on the first play of the second quarter. It was a 2nd and 5 carry, and Walt Easley gets the ball down inside the 30-yard line. Very close to a first down. Robert L. Jackson holding his back down again for the Cleveland Browns after being a primary tackler.
Tell you, Robert L. is all game, Don, but when he pinched his shoulder early in the ball game, they said he would return. Sometimes you do favor certain parts that are injured, and you leave vulnerable others. Here he comes a little late.
His own guy got him. So Robert L. Jackson's down. We'll be back. Good to see that Robert L. Jackson's up and about after taking a whack in the lower back after making a tackle. His own teammate Ambrose inadvertently got him.
Well, when there are a lot of people around, they're coming from both sides.
Got to get Dick checking the right color jersey. So Robert L. goes off. No doubt he will be back. In the first quarter, you see how it breaks down. The 49ers with a decided advantage, but Cleveland with a 2-0 lead.
That's right. One thing to move it up and down the field. It's another to put it across that goal line.
Last week, San Francisco beat Atlanta here at Candlestick Park. I guess it's the first time ever, John, that the 49ers have beaten all their divisional opponents in one season.
Still have a few left.
They do. It's not over yet. Now it is 1st and 10. 49ers go to the run, and Cleveland coming up quickly. Walt Easley carries the ball. Dick Ambrose was on the play, and so was cornerback Ron Bolton. So it was a first down carry. The gain was just 2 yards, and the 49ers now have the ball down to the 28-yard line of Cleveland. Montana's put the ball up 9 times. He's completed 7 for 66 yards. Joe Montana in his 3rd year out of Notre Dame, coming in with a 63% completion average. Hofer on 2nd and 8 tries to turn wide and does. Turns upfield, and Paul Hofer gets ahead for yardage when it seemed there was none there. Clay Matthews finally knocked him down.
You know what happens, Don? People ask you, why do you run wide on a sloppy field? Generally because you hope somebody falls down on the opposing team. This time it happens to be his own member, None of the guards can get out to lead the play. Hofer, just because of the way he is, goes out. He allows the 3 defensive men coming to pursue the play to run by him. Gets around Bolton, stands it up, cuts back underneath, and picks up 8 yards. I guess that's why people like him here.
They like him with reason. Paul Hofer, an all-purpose back, great pass catcher. Sometimes they'll split him out as a wide receiver now. It's 3rd down and a long 2 for San Francisco. Charlie Young goes in motion. Here's a throw and a completion. Dwight Clark comes down with the ball, and he has a San Francisco first down.
All right, now this is what we talk about when we talk about a well-conceived pass offense. We take the wide shot. Here's Dwight Clark standing out here, the wide guy. He allows his man in motion, Charles Young, to come back. He tries to get underneath, cannot do so. Somehow he and Montana communicate. He stops, the ball's right on the spot, and they pick up a first down.
49ers keeping it going here in the second quarter. 13-11 to play in it. Cleveland leading 2-0. Niners have been tough to beat here at Candlestick. They were 4-0 here in October, 2 for 2 victories in November. Their 2 losses this year came in the first 3 games. Montana on 1st and 10. Has a man swinging out, and the footing goes, and so does the football. Eason Ramson going for the ball, could not hold on. Clay Matthews defending on the play, and that's going to bring up 2nd down and 10 for San Francisco.
Eason's coming off with a limp. They're putting Johnny Davis in to replace him, the back from Tampa Bay.
12th play of the drive coming up here, John. San Francisco controlling the ball with that mixture of the pass and the run. Now it's 2nd down and 10, San Francisco. Freddie Solomon goes wide left. Clark is wide to the right. To the run. Walt easily puts his head down, runs head on into Don Good of the Cleveland Browns. Kansas City and Houston meeting at Arrowhead, and the Chiefs have now opened up a 23-10 fourth quarter lead.
There's another reason why it's a big game for Cleveland. Every time you see a score, you realize if Cleveland can get into the rhythm of things, they can jump themselves to 9-7 and have an excellent shot at the playoffs.
Joe Montana checking the sideline, getting the call. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the San Francisco 49ers and the National Football League is prohibited. 3rd down and 7. Handoff. Walt easily takes it straight ahead and gets down to the 10-yard line. 4th and 2 comes up now for the 49ers.
Another case where you have to know your football field. Playing at home, you know where the good and the bad spots are. Generally, you'd say it's a sure passing situation. They hand a little draw. They try to give it to Easley, pick up 3 yards, and it gets him out of bad turf. Now, he should be able to put this one through the bars.
I would think so. Raymond Wersching lost his footing his first attempt, you'll remember. Now he's in a much more solidified area of the field. Montana gets set. Randy crosses the snapper. On the way. Right through the uprights, and now it is a 3-2 San Francisco lead with 11:28 left to play in the first half. Raymond Wersching swings into the ball, no doubt about it. And the points are up for the first time for San Francisco. They'll kick off when we come back. Just taking the lead on a Raymond Wersching field goal. 3-2 is the score. Lyle Alzado, defensive end for the Cleveland Browns. Getting a break now, a rest on the sideline as Wersching kicks off. Lawrence Johnson is back deep with Dino Hall. This is Lawrence Johnson, a burner. Picks it up. He caught it. Oh, no, I think did he touch it outside the end zone?
Doesn't matter, Don.
It's a muff.
If it bounces, yeah. If it bounces in the end zone, he just made a heads-up play.
He did. John, we've got some good ones next week. NBC doubleheader week. Pittsburgh will play at Cleveland, New England at Buffalo, and then those 2 8-3 teams, Denver, leader of the AFC West, and Cincinnati, leader of the AFC Central, meet at Riverfront in Cincinnati. That's the big game of the first games of the doubleheader. And then the second games will have Seattle at Kansas City, San Diego at Oakland, and Miami and the New York Jets will hook up at Shea Stadium, as the Jets are now very much a contender. That's how the standings are today.
They're going to have to insert the Jets into second.
That's right. Reggie Rucker catches the ball over the middle, but loses the handle at the 34-yard line.
Well, so many people tell you Jack Reynolds isn't very good against the pass, but he actually caused that incompletion. And he's not fast afoot. We see a little shoe change down there, and there's plenty of reason for it.
Most of them are going down with the longest cleat allowed, a 5/8-inch cleat. That's what the 49ers have been using, so the Browns figure they might know something. Second down and 10 coming up now. Ryan Sipe and the Browns on offense at their 20. Sipe very wisely throws it away. It'll be third down and 10. Jim Stuckey, a real good defensive end from Clemson, was in pursuit. Ryan Sipe, John, now has thrown the ball 8 times, has completed just 2 so far for 24 yards.
Well, he's trying low percentage passes. They're trying to get the ball into the medium area, that 17 to 20 yard area. They're trying to do it to the outside. It puts a burden on the thrower. And I doubt if there's a quarterback that's ever come to Candlestick Park that realizes how windy it is here until he's been here a few times. Now, this is Brian Sipe's first trip to Candlestick, and I'll bet you right now he's saying, why didn't somebody tell me about this place?
It is right on Oakland Bay, and the winds don't stop, and they come from all different directions. Now a throw to Pruitt. Greg Pruitt puts his head down, gets across the 30, and on 3rd and 10, the Browns come up with an excellent play and get the first down. Carlton Williamson, rookie defender from Pittsburgh, made the hit, but again, Greg Pruitt delivers on 3rd down with Sipe.
The impressive thing is the way Greg Pruitt keeps his feet when he's trying to make sharp breaks. He's in the middle of the bad part of the field. He does create a space between himself and Bob Leopold just because he is so adept at moving in the right spot at the right time. It's a big completion and keeps the ball alive.
First and 10 for Cleveland. 11:03 to play in the first half. Ryan Sipe, play taken, swings it out to Ozzie Newsome. And Ozzie has a problem as he is caught and thrown down. Willie Harper, number 59, gets him. 10-yard loss.
Mentioned earlier, Don, that a guy that's really coming into his own and being recognized for it is Willie Harper, number 59. How many times has Ozzie Newsome stood back there and run that little screen pass? Nobody's out there with him. Look at Harper. You think he's not out there with him? Handles the blocker easily, steps on Newsome, and they cause a loss of 9.
So the Niner defense comes up big. Willie Harper makes the play. They call it the new name defense here in San Francisco. So many new people, but they've all melded together to form a very cohesive club that's gotten better defensively every week. There's more name contests going on around here. There's Gold Rush defense. Here's a throw by Sipe, and out there for the ball. It's intercepted. Dwight Hicks, who intercepted 2 last week against Atlanta, gets his 8th interception of the year. They were going to Pruitt, but Hicks steps right in and picks it off. Dwight Hicks, the free safety who came here as another of those 49er free agents.
Well, a good throw would have had him. It wasn't a good throw. The ball was thrown behind him, but that's the sign of a good defensive back. Somebody that kind of entices you to throw the ball. He stands around. He lingers playing center field. If you throw a perfect ball, they'd have had a completion, picked up a first down. Just a little bit off, though, and I'm coming in to get it. Hicks has been an opportunist all year long. Perfect illustration.
That was the 19th interception of the season for San Francisco. As you see, they had 16 all of last year, so they've really improved in that area. Now Montana wants to get some in a hurry. He swings it out. Too much on it for Paul Hofer. Boy, the Niners, when they run the patterns, they've got people in every area of the field.
Well, they do that, but that time Don Good played a pretty good defensive linebacker position to keep the ball from being complete. Nice to have a baseball game at Candlestick Park, 3-2. Second inning, who hit the home run?
It'd have to be a World Series for San Francisco and Cleveland to be in it. There was some talk, John, a couple of years ago that Art Modell, the owner of the Browns, might buy the Cleveland Indians. Lyle Alzado heard about it. He said, Art, if you buy him, I want to play shortstop. Modell said, no way, pay you for 162 games? Now it's 2nd and 10. Here's the swing pass. Hofer goes for the ball. It skips off his hands. It'll be 3rd down and 10, San Francisco. Joey Montana's journey as a quarterback has been an interesting one, as you see Dwight Hicks on the sideline, getting his 8th interception of the year. Sat on the bench at Notre Dame as a young man. Got in the second half in some games and won them. They finally figured this might be a player. And in his wisdom, Dan Devine then started to start him. He led him to a national championship in 1977. Doesn't have the great delivery. Maybe the great speed is lacking. But there's something in the chemistry of Joe Montana that makes him a winner.
Well, they sit and talk about chemistry, but if you play quarterback, you know he throws the ball at the right time. He's got the awareness to play the position. Anybody that knows about the great quarterback knows he's got those qualities.
Long pass in the end zone is Clark. And fortunately, two young men missed the goalpost holder. Clarence Scott was defending against Dwight Clark. Didn't hear a whole lot about Dwight Clark as a collegian because the other wide receiver at Clemson was about the best in the country. Jerry Butler is now an all-pro player at Buffalo. Dwight Clark didn't come here until the 10th round.
All right, when you catch 12 balls in college and you're a wide receiver, you're not going to be drafted very high. However, since he's been their guy. People sit and talk about those kind of players as being underrated, Don. What they do is they might be underrated, but not by the fellas that play against them.
Yeah,
The 49er players know he's our guy. Get the ball to him.
Now Jim Miller tries to hang a punt up and does, but it looks like it's going to carry into the end zone. There is a penalty marker down. With 9:38 left to play in the first half, the San Francisco 49ers holding to a 3-2 lead. Cleveland scored first if you joined us late. Joe Montana was trapped in the end zone through a pass that was ruled intentional grounding. Offensive penalties in the end zone and automatic 2-point safety for Cleveland. Then the Browns saw San Francisco come back and take the lead on the Raymond Wersching field goal. Bill Walsh, 8 years the offensive coordinator at Cincinnati, didn't get the head job here. Finally got one at Stanford, had two great teams, and the DeBartolos made a great move getting to San Francisco. Out there working very fast during the timeouts.
You know, it's funny, when you have a weakness, it seems like everybody attacks it. This ball game has been played about 60% right in that 20-yard spot. Hard to get out of it.
It's hard to get out. Looks like they're boogieing out there in the timeouts, stamping it down. First and 10. Sipe takes a look, drills the ball, makes the connection, and it's going to be good for a first down. A fine throw by Sipe as he drilled it in, and Ricky Feature catches the ball for an 11-yard lead. Ronnie Lott made the tackle on the play, the #1 draft choice out of Southern California. Or the way he's played as a rookie, might be in the Pro Bowl his first year.
Should be.
Cincinnati 8-3 after an easy victory over the LA Rams today. Pittsburgh, with Bradshaw throwing for 5 touchdowns, beat Atlanta easily and moves to 6-5. Houston losing badly at Kansas City in the 4th quarter. First and 10. Here is Mike Pruitt turning wide, and a first down carry. He gets across the 35 in his open field. And Mike Pruitt, big as he is, can outrun almost anybody out there. 225 pounds and a legitimate 4'4", 40-yard man coming out of Purdue.
The big part of the deal is they got out of the bad footing. You take a look. Archie Reese thinks he's got him back there. He outruns his grasp. Carlton Wilson misses the tackle. Hicks finally gets him, but I don't know if Newsom ever realized that he was coming his way.
Watch Newsom here.
Whoops, but when he found out, he did his job. He took Harper the way Harper had handled him on a couple plays previously.
Screened Harper off, and the biggest run of this game, 19-yard gain for Mike Pruitt. First down, Cleveland. Sipe, pump faking.
That's a lateral.
I think you've got something there. Cleveland fans, San Francisco starting to yell now. They want the intentional grounding called.
Well, they do. I mean, I imagine the official ruled that Brian's arm was hit, but we're sitting with a perfect lateral vision of it, and it looked to me like it was a lateral the whole way.
That is a great doubleheader coming up next week on NBC. Denver, 8-3 leader of the AFC West at Cincinnati. 8-3 leader of the AFC Central. Then Miami goes to Chase. Plays the resurgent New York Jets. Right now, Brian Sipe takes a look, throws a long ball downfield, and Pruitt comes back at it but can't make the reception. Penalty markers down, way down inside the 30.
It's interference.
Yep. So the Browns will be beneficiaries now of a big penalty yardage gain, and they'll be down close to a challenge area as they move the ball inside the 30. Chuck Heberling says.
Offensive pass interference. Offense.
I say they sure wouldn't turn it down.
But we can take a look at the end of the play, and this is where it was called. They ruled that Greg Pruitt pushed Keena Turner out of the way. Whether he did or not, we could not see it on the monitor. We'll just have to take the official's word for it.
We always do.
A very popular decision here in San Francisco, but had we been in Cleveland, I think the stadium would have gone berserk.
They can get exercise in Cleveland. They got a good group there, 80,000 a week showing up to see the Browns. Here's the final now. Kansas City wins easily over Houston. And Dallas, workmanlike, moving out to a 10-0 lead over the Detroit Lions. The Giants with a 13-7 lead over the Redskins. Those two outfits don't like each other. I guess a lot of guys in this league don't like each other.
I was going to say there's not a lot of love lost on Sunday between any two teams.
The group getting together at Cleveland next Sunday is not the best of friends. The Steelers and the Browns. Now coming up for Cleveland on the penalty, 2nd down and 20. Sight takes a look long, throws. Keena Turner almost made the interception. They say that Keena Turner from Purdue is as good an athlete as there is in the San Francisco team.
And that's why they have him in there in passing situations to cover those good offensive backs on pass patterns. He's covered 2 in a row just about perfectly.
Brian Sipe has now put the ball up 14 times, has completed 5 for 36 yards, and the 1 interception. Which subsequently, you recall, led to the Raymond Worsham field goal, and that has given San Francisco the 1-point lead they have now. It's a 3-2 game. 8:32 to play in the first half. Sipe, 3rd and 10. Home run ball. Ozzie Newsome's out there. Up goes Ozzie, and he comes down with the ball. Ozzie Newsome, as good in the crowd as any player in the league, goes up between 2 San Francisco DBs, and Big Ozzie rips it down for a 39-yard gain.
Now, that was just like a basketball play. It's one thing to go into the crowd when you're on the dead run. It's another when the ball's hanging in the air and everybody's loping around. He gets great position on Carlton Williams, and when he does, he comes down with the ball, keeps his attention in perfect spot, and you can take a look at Brian Sipe. If he gets this kind of protection all day long, he will eat the 49ers alive. They've got 2 men on Dean, number 74, trying to get close, never got a hand on him.
Those guys named Joe are doing some pass blocking, and now the Browns are challenging. 1st and 10 at the 21. Sipe gets time. He throws and gets it too long for Ozzie Newsome down at the goal line.
He put that one right where he intended.
Yeah.
4 rows up.
Willie Harper and Carlton Williamson were combining on the defensive coverage for San Francisco. $59,000 a sellout here in San Francisco. This town is really alive. It always is, but it hasn't been over the 49ers. Recent years, those seagulls that have cruised around over Candlestick some Sunday afternoons look like vultures up there, John. 2 consecutive 2 and 14 years. But out of those long years came some excellent drafts. They stayed with the program, and now the 49ers have what might be a championship team. We don't know, but right now Greg Pruitt takes it down for the Cleveland Browns inside the 10-yard line.
Now that was a beautifully conceived play. They sent the wide receiver in motion. When they did so, somehow there was a 49er mix-up. They did not have contained with the cornerback. They got out there, found a slight crack. You can see it right here. Ronnie Lott's trying to come up from his free safety position in a nickel defense to contain. Williamson's caught back in the flow. Pruitt picks up a 1st down on the 7.
16-yard gain there. DeLon Laird took Ronnie Lott right out of the play. Now the Browns are challenging to go ahead. They have the ball 1st and goal at the San Francisco 6-yard line. Markers go down all over. Game clock shows 7:29 to play in the first half.
Cody Rising.
Right now, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
Television home of the Browns, WKYC TV, Cleveland.
Cody got working a little early, in motion early, and so a 5-yard assessment against Cleveland, and that marks the ball at the 11-yard line of San Francisco. Bill Walsh providing some counsel on the sidelines to his offensive players. It's the new name defense of the 49ers being challenged right now. Sipes been spreading them out with a lot of long pass patterns. First and goal. Timing pattern into the corner of the end zone. Feature. It's tough duty coming down there. It rained so hard here in San Francisco on Friday that the field was covered and the parking lot
The tough part,
flooded.
The tough part, Don, is that Feature just landed on the concrete.
Yeah.
That is not cinder or anything else. That's concrete down there in that area. Trying to stay in as long as he could. The ball was overthrown. Ooh, and that does skin up your hands.
49ers were practicing on the parking lot yesterday. They couldn't get on the field here.
They had to find someplace.
Wasn't a lot of hitting going on. There is today, though, is San Francisco being challenged now. Second and goal. Sipe the same play. Feature goes up. They timed it up better, but he couldn't come down with the ball. If at first you don't succeed.
Well, you know, I agree with the play. They sit there and say, well, they've come away broke twice. If I was in Brian Sipe's shoes, I'd do the same play again. It's one that he's very effective with Logan on. But Feature's got Eric Wright turning his back to the play. When you get a cornerback turning your back to the play, in between you and the quarterback, you should just lay the ball up there and let the receiver do the work. One time it was Brian's overthrow. The next time Feature should have come down with the ball. I'd try it again if they give me the same defense.
On the subject of athletes, there isn't a better one on the Cleveland team than Feature. He's not big, but he's a phenomenal little player. Third and goal. Brian Sipe throws over the middle. It comes in wide of Ozzie Newsome.
Number 65 made that play go early. Lawrence Pillars got to Sipe before he could allow Newsome to run his pattern. When he turned around, the ball was already by him. Number 65, Pillars right in the middle. Henry Shepard on top of him, but he forces Sipe to throw it before he'd like.
Niners got a lot of good players for the right price. Pillars came in here from the New York Jets. He was cut there, got him for a $100 waiver price. Barr ready to try a field goal. Matt Barr ready to kick 28-yarder. This time he's right there. And the Cleveland Browns take the lead. 5-3.
He seems to be better when he's slipping.
Let's watch that again.
Take a look. We saw Wersching slip from relatively the same place. Barr's foot goes out from under him, but he gets a piece of the ball first.
He checked that one out, sitting down. On the way, he's through. And so Cleveland comes back to take a 5-3 lead. Time, as we mentioned, with the San Francisco 49ers early in the season, hits the field goal from 28 yards out, and Cleveland takes a 5-3 lead. Now Steve Cox, who hits it longer off the tee, will kick off for Cleveland.
Yeah, I bet he doesn't kick this one longer.
A high spinner. It's going to carry short. Down to the 16-yard line. Amos Lawrence takes it up the middle, breaks through one wave of white shirts, and finally gets out across the 35-yard line. The Thanksgiving Day tradition of exciting and unpredictable NFL football continues on NBC Sports Thursday, November 26th. Start your Thanksgiving at 12 noon Eastern Time with a special holiday edition of NFL 81 with host Bryant Gumbel. Then the playoff-hungry Kansas City Chiefs, a victor today over Houston, take on Billy Sims and the Detroit Lions. Thanksgiving Day here on NBC Sports. Hadn't been a whole lot of scoring in this one at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Overcast day, temperature in the 50s, wind is blowing. Don Criqui with John Brody. 5-3 Cleveland is the score. Montana throws. Freddie Solomon was wide open, but as you saw, they could not make the connection. Solomon, who's a very fast player, came here with a reputation at Miami of dropping balls, but he's been great at San Francisco. He's got 7 or more TDs his last 3 years here.
Well, they view that even if he drops a few balls, he gets open so much. That's the key to a good receiver. Last week in the ball game, he had a chance to break the game open early, dropped a couple balls in his lap. But throughout his last 2 or 3 years here, he's been the man they go to when they want to get the big play because he is very dependable as far as beating a one-on-one coverage.
Freddie Solomon is in the slot. At the top of your screen is Montana on 2nd and 10. Takes a look, swings it out, goes to Solomon. That's how fast he is. He came right across the field in a flash of an eye and catches the ball. Got ahead for a gain of about 6 yards. That was all Freddie Solomon.
Hey, if they start sending me across the middle on a regular basis like they did him on that play, I'd drop a few balls too, because there's a lot of people to concern yourself with.
Ball is advanced now out to the 45-yard line of San Francisco. Game clock shows 6:20 to play in the first half. Cleveland holding to the 5-3 lead. It was 2-0 Cleveland. It was 3-2 San Francisco on the Wersching field goal. Now 5-3 Cleveland on the Matt Farr field goal. 3rd and 4. Montana takes a look at Dwight Clark, throws to him, and there's a first down. Inside the 40.
Everybody in the house knows they're going to go to Clark. But what do? Put 3 men on him. They've got men in motion. They get him isolated in a one-on-one situation. He breaks the zone about as well as anybody can do it. Montana waits on him. Okay, he's supposed to come across the middle. He breaks to the outside. Sees a clean lane there. Picks it up for the first down. And he does not have 4.9 speed like he claims. It's about turn to 9 upside down, and he's got the right speed.
Well, that was good for 16 yards and a 40-yard first down. Now they go back to the throw. Swing pass. This is Earl Cooper. A lot of football player coming at a defense once he gets up the head of steam.
Okay, those are the things that when you draft a quarterback you don't know about unless you know the quarterback. This time it's a go for broke type play. He's trying to get Dwight Clark all the way down the right sideline for 6 points. It looks a little touchy down there. What does Joe do? He comes off to his alternate receiver, picks up 9 yards, and keeps the drive alive. Those are the things that when you say you can teach them, you can to a fellow that's aware and can learn them. There are some quarterbacks that come in this game and have played 14 years and still can't throw to backs.
Bradshaw, for one, he doesn't like to throw to his backs. He has trouble with that touch. He's not bad throwing at 60, though.
Yeah, I was going to say he's had enough success throwing it down the field. I wouldn't change his status.
Ask Atlanta. He ripped them for 5 touchdown throws today. Did Terry Bradshaw. Paul Hofer makes the reception. And again, the 49ers get the first down, so they drive on.
I've had trouble finding out how Benjamin delivers the signals to Montana. I see him with his hand cupped. I know he doesn't yell them out there. They have to have signs of some sort, but I haven't been able to see him.
California quarterbacks out here, they all have that. He looks a lot like Fouts, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Montana on first down, waits and throws it away. Good coverage. Don Good, outside linebacker from Cleveland, was step for step with Freddie Solomon. There was no open receiver.
Yeah, you don't. I think a Montana knows you don't get 5 seconds to throw when you've got Lyle Alzado coming from your blind side. And even if you have it, it's wise not to take it.
You see Montana's numbers for the day. He came in the 3rd round. They have a contest here giving him a name. Big Sky Joe, Frisco Joe. Butte, Montana is one of the names they call him.
That's right. Let's watch this play. They've got 4 wide receivers in the game. I haven't seen this in the National Football League, but take a look at the numbers of the backs in the backfield. 87 and 88.
Wide receivers in the backfield, Dwight Clark and Freddie Solomon. There's people running all over this football field, and so's Montana. He has a problem. For the moment, he eludes Marshall Harris, but not for long, and so the Cleveland Browns do an excellent job of defending against the pass.
Well, it's the second time. Sam Ratigliano saw that in the film. He probably was a little surprised the first time he saw it. Last week, they tried it 2 or 3 times. Both Solomon and Clark came wide open. They had them both in the backfield. And take a look. Look at the way Cleveland handles these 2 wide receivers. Okay, they've got him. By the time Solomon tries to slide to the inside, Montana's on his way to the sideline. Good defense.
Brown's doing a good job. Sam Ratigliano pacing the sidelines. Very aware of what transpired in his division today. Now we're going to have a timeout signal by San Francisco with 4:29 left to play in the first half. And so Montana comes to the sideline for advice from Bill Walsh. We'll be back at Candlestick Park after this. Those are the numbers. 5-3 in the second quarter, 4:29 to play in it. Don Criqui with John Brody at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. It was a very wet day at the outset. Rain has stopped now, cleared up a little bit. Wind is blowing. Pleasant day, though. Temperature in the high 50s. Montana on 3rd and 10 has to run, and he does and throws, and he hits a strike to Freddie Solomon. It's a first down, 49ers. That was a good football play.
Not only a well-thrown ball, but Solomon, when he caught it, made sure he got the first down. He had his feet planted in bounds about 2 feet short of the first down line. Good coordination got him above the first down line before he went out of bounds. There's a guy. Montana's one of those fellas who throws the ball with his left leg off the ground when he's rolling to his right. Now, it's hard. There aren't many people that can do it effectively. He does it effectively, probably as well as anybody I've ever seen.
Bill Walsh, when he was at Cincinnati, had Ken Anderson the most effective quarterback in the league, and he's helped Montana achieve the same, or he might be at season's end as the 49ers go 1st and 10 to that rookie fullback from West Virginia, Walt Easley. The Niners do not have the great back right now, the great breakaway run. If they ever had that, you might have to throw them out of the league.
You can bet they're going to do everything they can to obtain one. They've had some good breaks, Don. They got Fred Dean, Reynolds, Lott, and the 3 defensive backs that they drafted last year. They feel that they can waste a draft or 2 and go for a top running back. I wouldn't be surprised to see them give quite a bit to get a Marcus Allen or some existing back that isn't playing a lot.
2nd down and 5 now for San Francisco. Pitch back to Easley. He cracks inside the 10-yard line and takes it down to the 8. Nothing fancy there. 49ers swing it out, bring those linemen ahead of the Cleveland defense, and there's a head-on collision. Easley's ahead for a gain of 5 yards on the play.
You know, getting back to the back situation, sometimes, you know, I can remember when John David Crow and Ken Willard were the backs in my backfield, and they worked perfectly in complement with the wide receivers and the structure of our attack. Now, these fellas are all hard-running backs. They block extremely well, particularly at Johnny Davis. You get him with a top-flight running back, like Hofer was last year. You got some.
Johnny Davis is in the game. He gets the ball, goes over the top on 3rd and a yard. Walt Easley going over, Davis blocking, and we're going to have to unpile now and see if he's close enough for the first down. Your old friend John David, I thought he had an interesting line the other day. They were asking him, John, about his old coach, Bear Bryant, who had him at Texas A&M, winning 314 games, which he did yesterday when they beat Penn State, Alabama did. John Davis, it doesn't surprise me. I always thought he'd win every game he coached. He played for him. John David Crow was the Bears' only Heisman Trophy winner in all those years and all those great players. Niners get it, drive on, so they look to take back the lead for a second time as they'll go 1st and goal from the 7-yard line of Cleveland. 12-7. We talked at the outset, John, about the Browns being a team like a baseball club that this year can't seem to win the one-run games. But they're in every game. I'll tell you one thing, if the Niners go ahead, watch for Cleveland to come right back. You saw Dallas holding to a 10-point lead. Handoff. The ball is taken down inside the 5-yard line for a gain of 3. Paul Hofer running hard. Clarence Scott and Robert L. Jackson were on the stop.
If they're able to run the ball in from the 5-yard line and 2 downs, I will be surprised. Cleveland is very tough once you get down there. I think they're going to have to put it upstairs, and I don't see any reason to waste time. If you're Bill Walsh, I'm sure that's what he's going to be talking to Montana about.
Montana's walking over to the sideline. He's going to let it wind down to 2 minutes to get the free timeout. It'll be 2nd down and goal from the 4-yard line for the San Francisco 49ers. At the moment, the Cleveland Browns are holding to an unlikely 5-3 lead. We'll be back at Candlestick Park, San Francisco by the day after this. Go the 49ers with the ball, 2nd and goal at the Cleveland 4-yard line. And as you see, the Browns holding to a 5-3 lead, 2 minutes to play in the first half. Montana with that diverse San Francisco passing game. 49ers have had long drives in this game. Their only points came after an interception by Dwight Hicks. A short drive thereafter, Raymond Wersching kicked the field goal to put them ahead of the time. Now on 2nd and goal, Montana has a problem, and Don Good gets him back at the 19-yard line.
Oh, my.
Montana goes down hard.
He took a good lick there.
Don Good, a big, hard-running linebacker, comes and gets him way behind the line.
I tell you, Joe Montana's a real tough nut, but when you get in a position like he was in, running to your left, trying to throw the ball to the right, Good gets a good grasp on him and stuffs him in the turf. Now they're back where those field goal kicks aren't very easy.
Have some Clevelanders, more than a few, who've made the trek west to follow the Browns. San Francisco from second and goal at the 4 now goes to third and goal from the 17-yard line. So Mr. Montana is going to come over and check out some coaching advice with 1:29 to go in the first half. We'll be back at San Francisco after this. And Purdue University, he's been running the ball well, but right now it's the Cleveland defense that has called on as the San Francisco 49ers looking to break this Cleveland lead of 2 points. 49ers with third down and goal coming up from the Cleveland 17-yard line. Another big rush. Swing pass goes to Hofer. He eludes one tackler and another and dives down to the 12-yard line. Raymond Wersching's coming on out now for San Francisco to try a third field goal attempt.
All right, I'm sure they were protecting the goal line. If you're a Brown defensive specialist, you say, hey, okay, nothing in the end zone. Walsh doesn't even take that try, but he does want to get into a position to be able to kick a field goal, and they've done that.
John, you held for 17 years for great kickers like Tommy Davis and Bruce Gossett. You find around the league quarterbacks are often the holders. Why is that?
Well, I think it's one of the most important parts of the kicking game. I mean, number one, when a kicker knows that you are there and you will get the ball down under all conditions, as you see Ray Wersching patting Montana on the back, you find the spot. It's a very responsible position. Somebody asked me why I held, and I guess once I said, well, so it won't fall over. But, you know, it's silly because it's a place where a quarterback should be there.
You think it'd be a wide receiver, though, a great wide hand.
Well, listen, I'm not certain that wide receivers have better hands than quarterbacks, okay? That's my opinion.
I'll accept that. Next Saturday on NBC Sports World, it's Women's World Powerlifting Championships, plus some of the great stock car drivers, Richard Petty, Darrell Waltrip, and Cale Yarborough, among the people in the NASCAR Charlotte 500 stock car race. That's all next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC Sports World. Raymond Wersching, who hit one from this end of the field, you recall, to give the 49ers a 3-2 lead, now looking to take it back as Cleveland leads 5-3. Wersching hits the ball hard and right through. Never in doubt, and San Francisco takes a 6-5 lead with 1:07 to play in the first half. Nobody's been in the end zone with a football yet. A 29-yard field goal by Raymond Wersching. 6-5 is the count. San Francisco with a 1-point lead.
Good Brown defense, though. I think San Francisco's moved the ball better than Cleveland in the first half. And when you've dominated the game offensively and you've only got 6 points to show for it, generally things tend to balance. And Brian Sipe isn't going to be 14 for 38 at the end of the ball game. He'll find a few holes in the defense. He'll operate the way he can. And I think both of the 49er drives that ended up in 3 points hurt them dearly.
John, you remember, I'm sure, as a boy growing up in the Bay Area, these 49ers and the Cleveland Browns when they were in the old All-America Conference, going to work at Kezar.
Yes, sir. Used to pick up the socks and T-shirts.
Well, you were a locker room guy?
Yeah, so was Danny Fouts. That's where you get your training if you live in San Francisco.
Heck yes. Worked out well for you two. They just had the ball for 6 minutes and 5 seconds, did San Francisco, getting the payoff on the Raymond Wersching field goal, and that gives the 49ers a 6-5 lead. Both these teams came into the National Football League in 1950. The Cleveland Browns, of course, in 1950 went right into the NFL and won the league championship. The Niners now in their 32nd year in the league, still hoping to win that first league title. But Cleveland, their arch rival Pittsburgh, went 42 years before they even won the playoffs, and they won 4 Super Bowls in 6 years. Can happen fast when it happens.
I would say the wheel does turn.
Pete has fast here.
Pete has his parity now. Couple cases of charity.
Yeah, the losers do get some help. And you find teams tail off a year later. You can't figure that either.
It's funny how the chemistry seems to remove itself, and it seems to happen in a year when you least expect it. I thought Pittsburgh was going to be real strong this year. They really haven't played well.
Did today, though. A long way to go still. 5 weeks is going to determine a lot. Brian Sipe sees a penalty marker go down. That might be a fumble. Ronnie Lott comes up with the ball, but it is ruled dead.
Now, anybody that's booing out here, and you're going to hear about 50,000 of them, think that, hey, the ball went backwards. But it was intended by the quarterback to go forward. He was in a throwing motion, and they just call it an incomplete pass. However, there's a penalty down, as you mentioned. Here goes Sipe. He's trying to get the ball going down the field. Whoops. Take a little second. Now throw it. He's in the throwing motion forward. That's a forward pass attempt.
But the call is going to go against the Cleveland Browns as Chuck Heberling, the referee, steps it off back to the 10-yard line. It'll be a holding call.
Holding. Offense, number 73, first down.
Don, do you know, had the 49ers not called 2 timeouts in this ball game already, they'd have enough left to force Cleveland, all right, to put the ball in the air from down there and possibly get the ball at midfield and score before the half. But they've taken 2 timeouts, and it definitely is a minus for them.
59 seconds as you see. Here's Mike Pruitt carrying the ball, running hard, and Pruitt takes some licks. Ronnie Lott, 42, Keena Turner, 58. Both come up and stick him. So did Bobby Leopold, 52. And Fred Dean was the man who was coming after Brian Sipe, trying to put Brian on the Dean's list. Fred Dean's gotten everybody in the league he's played against. His first play as a 49er on defense, he sacked Pat Hayden. Ended the day with 5 sacks against the Rams.
So Fred has done it since he's come to town.
Dallas offensive tackle said he looked at the game board and saw he was 6'4", 230. He said, I can't wait to play this guy. Said on the first time he rushed, he didn't block him because he didn't see him. That fast. Here comes Greg Pruitt running the ball. And Greg breaks through on 2nd down and 25 and gets the ball out close to the 15-yard line. Game clock winding down to 8 seconds to play in the half now, and 49ers call a timeout.
That's right. They called 1 unnecessary timeout. I say unnecessary because they wanted to get things straight. Had they 2 left, they'd have had 30 seconds to operate in. This way, they've only got about 2. What they'll try to do is get the kicker Cox to kick it high and short, fair catch it, get a free kick, kick a field goal before the half. If the ball's kicked more than 30 yards down the field, no game.
It doesn't happen often, but there have been games decided there. In fact, Atlanta tried to do it right here last week, John. Called for a fair catch late in the game, hoping to get the winning field goal on a free kick. Halftime, NFL 81. We go to New York to Brian Gumbel for an update on all the games this 11th week of play. There were upsets, and there were some surprisingly strong performances by the good teams like Cincinnati and Denver, who lock up next week at Riverfront Stadium. Both those teams extending their season record to 8-3 with decisive victories today over strong NFC opponents. Cincinnati beating the Rams handily. And that's how it stands. 18-17. AFC has dominated interconference play in the recent years. NFC coming up. NFC finally getting some good young quarterbacks.
Well, I think that's the visual part, Donnie. I think the big thing is that the fixed ideas of the National Football Conference changed. They can't call timeout. The half is history.
It is. Wasn't a lot of scoring. There was a lot of action. There's going to be a lot more in the second half as Bill Walsh and his 49ers go to the locker room. And we get that grip of the wrist, which the offensive team sinks a little when they see that. The mark-off a 10-yard one will put the ball back at the 30, and so the Browns will start out 1st and 20.
Holding. Offense, number 73, first down.
Got Doug Deacon. I'll tell you one thing, they don't get him often. He went all of last year. It's amazing. 16 games at left tackle for the Browns without 1 offensive holding call against him.
Well, obviously it works both ways. I mean, you have to be a little lucky, but you also have to have excellent technique. And he has that, and he's always taking the tough tight end week in, week out. He didn't get many called on him.
Archie Reese over the nose of the center Sullivan. He's the middle guard as Brian Sipe guns it in the flat to Ozzie Newsome. Try to get it back in pieces, and they get about 8 yards. Carlton Williamson knocked him out of bounds. Jim Stuckey, pass rusher from Clemson. Archie Reese, another defensive lineman from Clemson. And Dwayne Board, free agent acquisition, was a number 5 draft choice at Pittsburgh. They wanted to keep him, but it was a numbers game, and San Francisco got him. Harper, Reynolds, Pukey, and Turner make the star, are the linebackers, with Lott and Wright at the corners. Hicks and Williamson the safeties. 3 rookies in that defensive backfield. 2nd down and 12.
Oh.
Greg Pruitt had it, and then he got a full load of Carlton Williamson, the rookie from Pittsburgh, 27. He's almost as good as Lott, they say.
Well, he's about the same dimension. When you have a cornerback or a free safety that's 205 pounds, and he hits like this fella. Now here's Pruitt. Good. He's got good footing. Comes in, Sipe tries to get to him just a little late, and it's a lot too late if you're playing against Carlton.
49ers going with different alignments. Now they have the pass rushing group in. Dwayne Board moves to left end. Stuckey and Pillars are the tackles. And Dean goes to right end. Fred Dean. The lower portion of your screen, 74. Watch him when the ball is snapped. 3rd and 13. That's Dean trying to come through. He gets Sipe by the ankle, loses him. Sipe gets it away. And it's incomplete at the 48. Penalty marker down. Browns will be beneficiaries and get a first down.
Well, I think they're going to put it on Ronnie Lott, who actually did hit Ozzie Newsome after he got past that 5-yard area. There was contact, and Newsome at least alerted the official.
Oh, man. That's the second in this game that's gone against the offense. They call the one in the first half on Greg Pruitt of the Browns for offensive pass interference. So it is not a defensive penalty. It's not a first down. The 49ers decline, and Cleveland will punt.
I think Newsome's asking the official.
Pass interference. Offense number 82. Refused. 4th down.
All right, you see the reaction from Sam. I got the same view.
Sam's not buying that one, but it doesn't do any good.
Nope.
Day is getting much lighter now. No rain. There has not been since early in the first quarter. Cox takes his time, gets off a squib kick, and it's caught in the wind. This one takes a hop back upfield, and the Browns quickly down it. Eddie Johnson downs it at the 42. So San Francisco will get good field position on its first possession of the second half. You recall that Cox's 66-yard field goal in the first quarter led to Cleveland's first points, the field goal. Right now, it's a 6-5 game. San Francisco back after this.
Now there's a place where they have their own authorized mechanics.
Bring that one out.
Back-to-back 2 and 14 years. Lean years in this Baghdad by the Bay, but now the good times have come to San Francisco as the 49ers have extended their win streak to 7 games, but this one's a long way from over, and their lead is just 1 point early in the third quarter. Johnny Davis runs the ball, and not very far is Ambrose. One of the inside backers makes the hit. Montana working with Ricky Patton easily in his backfield, but that backfield changes virtually on every play. Clark and Solomon, the wide receivers. Charlie Young is the tight end. Offensive linemen, Audick, Ayers, Quillen, Cross, and Farnhorst. There's been 1 sack of Montana. Recall the linebacker blitz by Don Good, an excellent play. Now it's 2nd down and 7 for San Francisco. Walt Easley runs, breaks some tackles, and Easley gets ahead for a 49er first down. 8-yard gain for Walt Easley.
Okay, take a look at Ron Bolton and Dwight Clark. Dwight's just running down the field trying to keep Bolton. He's got his attention. Some plays never stop. Dwight's waiting for his back to break loose, and he's back in the huddle.
Bolton and Swan will have a good one next week at Cleveland. They always get after each other. It's 1st down and 10 for San Francisco. Again, they go back to Easley. He gets ahead on a first down carry inside the 40-yard line of Cleveland, and then you see the marker come in. Lyle Alzado was on the stop. So was free safety Autry Beeman.
Must be a face mask.
Somebody grabbed the bird cage and
Face mask number 77 defense on the run. 5 yards. First down.
They got Lyle Alzado.
Hofer came back in the lineup, Don. You can look for a screen, a draw, some kind of play to implement him.
Joe Montana sets himself, puts it over the middle, and Dwight Clark catches the ball at the 22-yard line. Another great pass-catch combination. Montana stood in, delivered. He was leveled by Lyle Alzado. A perfect strike for 12 yards and a Niner first down.
You take a guy like Clark and you sit there and you say, well, they've got the whole play defense, and they have. He starts in across the middle. He sees Montana in trouble. Ambrose is trying to handle him. Montana throws it over the left shoulder, completion. They've had 4 or 5 of those kind of connections throughout the day. and it's kept their drives alive.
You know who he reminds you of, John, is the guy that's unable to play for Cleveland, at least so far, Dave Logan.
Very much. Size-wise, ability to catch the ball in a crowd.
On the run, Hofer gets the call. He's not afraid, coming off knee surgery. Paul Hofer puts his head down and drives into Lyle Alzado and Ron Bolton. John Ayers led the blocking. Paul's got to get an equipment change there. He's starting to come apart. You've had some good backs here from Mississippi. You recall Goober Cunningham.
You bet. Old Doug could do it all.
About the same size.
I'll tell you, he wore the name Goober on his back one day. Everybody in the stands, and I guess all the administration officials took a look and said, who is that guy? Where's he on the roster? Well, he's the only guy that got away with putting a nickname on his back.
Ricky Patton now goes in the game. He's in there with Walt Easley. It's 2nd down and 6 for San Francisco. Boy, the 49ers are getting some power off the right side of that offensive line.
Randy Cross is moving people around right now. They've run 5 times to his side in this drive. He's moved people off the line of scrimmage, picked up 2 first downs. Maybe that's why he's all pro.
He's a good one out of UCLA, Randy Cross, born in Brooklyn. Easley's run for 57 yards now and 14 carries.
Okay, he takes Horn out of the way. Keith Von Horst, also the right tackle. He's moving people around, and they're moving the ball on the ground for the first time today consistently.
Let's see what they do now. San Francisco's liable to do anything on 3rd and 2. They align in a power formation, though, like they're going to power the ball at Cleveland again, and they do. And here comes the run. Ricky Patton carries. Doesn't get much, but he did get enough for the first down. He needed 2, and he got that. And so the 49ers drive continues. It'll be 1st down and 10 just outside the Cleveland 10-yard line.
They've run in the same area one more time. 71 Von Horst, 51 Randy Cross. They double team. They get a good double team. Marshall Harris is the victim. Just move him enough. Surge forward for a first, I think.
The scoreboard tells an interesting tale in this 11th week of play. After we look at the measurement, no, they didn't get there. Now we have the very important call. 9th play of this drive coming up. They're going to go for the first down on 4th down.
We mentioned, Donnie, that they have to score some points in this half. They can kick a field goal. What it would mean is they've had another drive nullified, and they've only got a 4-point lead. They know they're going to have to score enough points to keep Sipe from coming back and beating them. I agree with the call, whether it works well or not.
Because you know that Sipe and the Browns will be back down the field sooner or later. And right now, with 10:29 left to play in the game, we've got almost a whole half of football to go. And so San Francisco goes for it on 4th down and inches. Walt Easley, one of the runners. Johnny Davis, the big fullback from Alabama, is the other. Easley over the top. First down, San Francisco. Well, there's a big disparity in first downs. The 49ers 16-7 for Cleveland, but it's a 6-5 game, San Francisco.
That's like that time of possession importance, Don. It only matters at the end of the game. The winner gets to keep the ball and the loser doesn't.
That's what the guy said about time of possession. The only thing that counts about time of possession is who gets to keep the game ball. Now it's 1st and 10, San Francisco. Montana hands off to Easley, and look at the Cleveland Browns come sweeping in. Robert L. Jackson covers a lot of ground. So does Clay Matthews. The 2 linebackers on the right side were there. Detroit getting back in the game now, trailing Dallas 17-14 third quarter score. Giants holding to a 3-point lead over the Redskins in New Jersey. Skins going for their 4th win in a row after they lost their first 5 of the season. They're still a wild card contender. So too is Cleveland if they can win this game, but San Francisco is driving right now. 2nd down and 10 coming up at the 11-yard line of the Browns. Montana on a sprint out, lots of time.
Got nobody open.
Not yet. There's a throw. There's a man open. Johnny Davis got hit in a bad place.
They may not call it, but Keith Bonhorst was also about 3 or 4 yards over the line of scrimmage.
Johnny Davis got hit right on the numbers. He wasn't ready for it that short.
Good or bad, it's a beautiful play by Montana. He's waiting. He's buying time. He's buying time. All 3 of his wide receivers have been knocked down. Now Clark gets up, tries to find a spot on the other side of the field. He spots Davis. Hits him. Got to hang on to that pill.
Now 3rd down arises for Montana in the San Francisco 49ers. 11-yard line of the Cleveland Browns. Again, Montana has time. Again, the Browns have everybody covered. Here comes the rush. Montana is too high for Dwight Clark. 4th down comes out. Here comes Raymond Wersching. 8:27 to play in the 3rd quarter. Montana drops as if he's going to throw from the pocket, then everything swings out to the right.
Well, he's putting such a burden on the secondary when he does get out elusively. He's very good laterally running the football. He buys time very well, but credit the secondary of the Browns. They had everybody covered. Dwight Clark's running all over the field trying to find a space and couldn't do it.
A 28-yard field goal attempt by Raymond Wersching is on the way. He doesn't chit-chat with that football. He nails it and drives it through, and the 49ers extend their lead now to 9-5, a 4-point lead. Cleveland needs a touchdown. They get a long time to get it. 8:24 remaining to be played in the 3rd quarter. Wilson fence, they call it. Fred Dean has not been a real big factor, due in no small part to the double team the Cleveland Browns have been putting on him.
And the play of Doug Deacon.
Yeah, Deacon's done well. You saw him on the hole, but
it's a nice-looking leg, but it's got a few wraps on it, a couple bruises. When you carry the ball, that's what happens.
more to come. Walt Easley's been carrying it often for 49ers. 8:24 to play in the 3rd quarter. Don Criqui with John Brody. Raymond Wersching hits a long kickoff into the end zone. Dino Hall fields it. Thinks better of bringing it out. Unsure footing, so Dino will take the touchback and the go from the 20. Right now, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
Television home of the Browns, WKYC-TV, Cleveland.
Raymond Wersching was born in Austria. He's one of 3 place kickers in the NFL. From Cal at Berkeley, across the bay. The others, Jim Breach at Cincinnati and Mick Luckhurst of Atlanta.
And he's been one of the really steady, consistent, count on him place kickers for the last 6-7 years here.
3 for 4 today. 9-5 lead, San Francisco. 1st down, Browns. Pruitt breaks it up the middle for a moment and gets ahead for a 7-yard gain. Got to the 27-yard line. Jerry Sullivan, the starting center for Cleveland in the absence of injured Tom DeLeon, through the key block. Watch.
Well, we've mentioned the importance of Hacksaw Reynolds to the San Francisco 49er defense. He takes on the blocker pretty well, but when he does so, Pruitt runs right through his arms. That wasn't one of his best plays.
Actually, it was DeLamielleure that got a hold of Reynolds, and the center, Jerry Sullivan, took out the linebacker, Pookie. Now, it is 2nd down and 3, Cleveland, a long 3. Back to the run, back to Mike Pruitt, ahead for a 1st down. He's so strong and so fast, you always have the feeling, though, it's almost going to go the distance. It can very quickly. Big as he is, one of the fastest players on the field.
I get the feeling that Cleveland went in the locker room and said, okay, we're going to go out there and fire the ball for one series. If we're not effective, we're going to run it at him. Now, we've tried everything. It looks like you ought to be able to beat a defense that has 4 rookies in the secondary, but we haven't been able to do it, and they haven't. So let's try running the ball. We've seen them run it very effectively throughout the year, but they haven't tried much today.
Detroit came back from a 17-point deficit, tied a game, of course, here on NBC Thanksgiving Day. Kansas City, a tough outfit, goes to Detroit. The footing takes its toll on the off track. That is the tough area of the field.
And he just blew the biggest hole of the day. He got so antsy to get through that hole, I think he slipped.
Look at this.
Now, okay, it looks like a nice football field. Look at Brian Sipes' pivot, making sure he just gets it to him. Now, you take a look at that hole. Does that look nice? He fell down and almost still got in it.
It's like the rough at St. Andrews. Boy, yeah, that is tough to get.
I don't think you could find your ball in that stuff either.
You couldn't get it out. Sipe loses the ball. It is recovered by Cody Risen. Now they're ruling that Sipe's arm was in motion. Tina Turner was coming on a backer blitz. 58.
I think that's a good rule. If he's decided to throw and hasn't put his arm in motion, there is no penalty. But when he's put his arm in motion to throw the ball forward and he's hit from the blind side, he doesn't know what's going on. He's made his decision. His arm is in motion. Keena Turner made a good play, but I think the officials ruled it correctly.
You see the numbers for Sipe and the Browns, 3rd and 8. Finally, the 49er gold rush comes through and sweeps under Brian Sipe. Wayne Board led the way, and Fred Dean was right with him.
That's number 1 for them today, Don. They've had some hurries, but they haven't had any sacks.
Well, they get some hombres when they stick them all in there and tee them up. So Cleveland's drive has stopped, and now Steve Cox will have to punt. He's standing back at his 10-yard line. 2 men back for the 49ers. Dwight Hicks is back. So is Freddie Solomon. End-over-end kick. Down to the San Francisco 39-yard line, and there the 49ers go on offense, 1st and 10. 36-yard punt by Cox, as you saw, no return. 5:37 to play, 3rd quarter, and the 49ers holding to a 9-5 lead. Cleveland with the ball. We come back.
A reason why the 49ers better take advantage of the field position they have right now with only a 4-point lead.
It's tough to tell when the wind's with you here. Swirls. Here's Montana looking long. Solomon going long, and the ball is 10 yards beyond him. No question, Montana has a big league arm. That one was a lot more on it than he wanted, and so it'll come up 2nd down and 10 for San Francisco at the 49ers 39-yard line.
I think people underplay the wind conditions at Candlestick Park more than anything else. Now we've got a poor field condition. I do think at the end of the year, if the Niners get in the playoffs, all right, and it looks like they're going to, because when you got a 3-game lead trying to make it 4, and the teams around you are collapsing, you're going to be there. This field will have to be improved.
That's right. Even if San Francisco loses today, they'll still have a 3-game lead with 5 to play. Schumann comes over, catches the ball. He fumbled it, but the recovery by Don Good came out of bounds.
Don Good got lucky there, because if that ball had gone out of his hand, it would have hit the referee in the bean, and that would have been 15 yards. Let's take a look. Pretty good pass execution. Gets it over to Schumann. Right on the money. When he's hit, the ball is definitely fumbled, and they figured that. Now I'll tell you what, that is a close call. I can understand Good's reaction, because I thought he had both knees inbounds when the ball went out of bounds, and I didn't think he had control originally. I do now, looking at it on the replay.
The ball is spotted at the 47-yard line of San Francisco. It's going to be 3rd down and a long 2 for the 49ers. Solomon comes in motion. Montana with the quick straight drop. They pick up the blitz. He swings out a perfect throw to Hofer, and he runs it down to the 47 for a 1st down. There is really a good-looking swing pass play out to the runner, a 7-yard gain, a perfect lead for Hofer. Memphis, Tennessee, and Ole Miss. Paul Hofer.
It took a perfect lead, because if he doesn't hit Hofer on the dead run, you see a linebacker right here. Dick Ambrose would have been in the play, stopped it for a loss. As it is, the 49er drive stays alive. They've got a 1st and 10 in Brown territory.
49ers holding to a 9-5 lead. Clock running, 3rd quarter, 4:40 to play in the 3rd quarter. On 1st down, they go to the run. Running quickly is Ricky Patton, 4th-year player out of Jackson State, who runs the ball down to the 43-yard line. Cousin of Walter Payton's.
I'll bet if you ask Bill Walsh or the Niners, they'd say, yeah, we're running the ball about as well as we've run it all year long. And they've occupied a lot of the clock, which keeps the ball away from Brian Sipe, keeps the Browns off the board. But they better capitalize. I guess I've repeated it enough.
They really have had a dominance, though, in time of possession. They've done it the way Cleveland has done often this season with the throwing game. Charlie Young, the tight end, gets the ball on 2nd down and 6 and gets it inside the 40. You know, the way the 49ers are going, John, they could very well have the home field in the playoffs.
They could, and I won't say anything, but I think they would rather
they
not
might go back to Kezar.
I think they'd rather have Philadelphia with it, because if that happened to turn out that way, they would play, and I don't by any stretch I think Minnesota's weak, but to play either Dallas, Philadelphia, or the playoff team, the wild card team, I think would be tougher.
Well, a long way from decided. Now we go to 3rd down and 3. Here comes Patton. Guards pull. Patton's ahead for a 1st down. He comes inside the 30 and gets down to the 29-yard line. Randy Cross, 51. Looks like the all-pro player that he is. He's having a great day. Straight ahead zone blocking, trap blocking, pulling and crashing people on the sweeps.
You know who else is having an outstanding day, although we haven't mentioned his name? Is Charlie Young. When you run wide effectively, your tight end has got to do a good job. I happened to watch him particularly on that play. He just stood the linebacker up.
Interesting story. Charlie Young from Southern California was the best tight end in football at Philadelphia. He was the #1 draft choice. And off straight ahead, and Hofer runs hard. Charlie Young, great years at Philadelphia, 2 of them. Then went to Los Angeles in the trade that brought Ron Jaworski to the Philadelphia Eagles. For the most part in recent years, Young sat on the bench at Los Angeles. Said it prolonged his career, perhaps. Didn't help him out, though, as a player. Now he's come here, and Bill Walsh says, John, he's having as good a year as he's ever had. They haven't tapped his full potential yet.
No, but what they have done is they've utilized him very well. Bill also mentioned he has as fine a pair of hands as anyone, and they hit him in big spots.
2nd and 6. Montana guns it up the middle. A terrific throw and a great catch by Solomon. Tucks that ball in, and now the Niners bring their fans to a stand and a cheer, and the ball is down inside the 10-yard line.
Montana looks to me like a guy that's played this game for about 12 years, and you just haven't seen him make a mistake in making a decision all day long. Short drop, puts the ball right in between 2 defensive backs. They've got an in-out coverage. Perfect.
Talking to John McVay, who's done such a great job as head of player personnel here in San Francisco. The book on Montana at Notre Dame was if he might have a bad first half, but don't pull him out because he'll win it for you in the second. Throws again. Montana hits a strike, and now the 49ers are down inside the 5-yard line. Walt Easley just crossed 15 yards.
That may have been the dumbest thing that Easley has ever done.
Bolton can inspire you to do that, though.
Sure he can. He's had a few called on him also. You come out, you work your tail off to make a fine drive, and they have through execution. Easley's been a big part of that. He gets run out of bounds. Bolton does give him a little bit extra down the line.
I'll tell you, we've seen some terrific pictures, too. The NBC technicians getting them all. As that ball was down inside the 2-yard line, now it comes back. It'll be a personal foul assessed against the 49ers.
Well, it's one of those times where the official doesn't see the first one, but he does notice the second. Perfectly executed play, well-run pattern.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 31, offense, out of bounds, during the dead ball. 2nd down.
So the ball now comes back out to the 17-yard line.
I mean, it's a correct call if you get technical about it. 49ers had a few breaks on this drive, or Cleveland would have had the ball at the 50, too, so they even out.
2nd and goal. Montana looking into the end zone, swings it out to Hofer. Blockers in front. And Dick Ambrose sheds Randy Cross and makes the stop. It was a good game for the 49ers, but it would have gone for a touchdown if Ambrose had not gotten free.
I've been impressed with the way the 49ers have continually thrown screen passes and continually found 2 blockers in front of the receiver with room to run.
They must have a thick playbook, John. They throw a lot of stuff at you.
Yeah, I tell you, the man does things some people haven't seen.
San Ratigliano's Browns now make some wholesale defensive substitutions, getting some fresh troops in the defensive line. Ready to meet the challenge, 3rd down and goal. Montana looks into the end zone. No penalty. Now one comes in. Back judge takes a look and throws the flag in.
I don't think it's going to be
Against
for
San
the
Francisco.
49ers.
That's
right.
Penalty is going to go against San Francisco, so the Browns are beneficiaries.
I can understand that, but you can. I'll be interested to see if the Browns take the penalty. I want to hear the call, because if it's 5 yards, I wouldn't take it. If it's 15, I would.
There is no foul on the play. The ball could not be caught. No foul. 4th down.
Good call.
That is a good call.
You don't see that a lot, but that is definitely in the rule book.
Well, I think what's happened is you're putting the officials in a position of making so many judgment calls. Not only do they have to see the infraction when it happens between 2 players, but then they have to make judgment on whether the guy could have caught it had there been no infraction. I don't think I'd like being an official.
All of San Francisco points have come from the right foot of Raymond Wersching. He's trying now for a 4th field goal, and he gets it. And San Francisco opens its lead now to 12-5, a 1-touchdown, 1 extra point lead with a long way to go. A minute to play in the 3rd quarter. So Raymond Wersching, 4 for 5 on the field goals, has been the scorer for San Francisco. San Francisco, an overcast day in the Bay Area. The rain has stopped. It rained this morning, rained hard yesterday. There was torrents of rain sweeping down on Friday. The field is wet, a little soggy, and Raymond Wersching has been the difference. He has not only kicked 4 field goals for all the 49er points in their 12-5 lead, he's also kicked off into the end zone 3 times, and there's been no return by Cleveland. This one is going to carry again down to the goal line, but Dino Hall's bringing it back. Dino's across the 25 and out to the 30-yard line. An amazing little man. They list him at 5'7", 165. He'd like to be that, but he's so quick. Sets up behind that wedge, and then if he sees a lane to the outside, he'll dart to it. Eric Wright, a rookie corner out of Missouri, made the knockdown. Got some wounded troops on the sideline. There always is at this point in the game. Robert Jackson's taken some hits and had delivered some, as always. Cleveland sets up wide receivers to either side. Newsom is out 3 yards to the right. Top of your screen, tight end. Whoops. Mike Pruitt was in motion early. Charles White in the game for the first time runs the ball. Illegal motion against the Browns.
Just by making a pretty good play, though, Charles White changed it from 2nd and 14 to 1st and 15 just by hustling.
That's right. They have to take the penalty.
That's right. Had he not picked up 4 or 5 yards, they wouldn't have taken it.
Browns scored in a 2-point safety to open this game. They led 2-0 at the end of the 1st quarter when Montana intentionally grounded, standing in his own end zone against a big rush. Then the 49ers with 2 second-quarter field goals by Wersching and 1 field goal by Matt Barr of Cleveland held to a 6-5 lead San Francisco at halftime.
Illegal motion, offense, number 43, 1st down.
Cleveland under 500, but still among the passing leaders. Brian Sutt coming in with over 2,700 yards on the season through 10 weeks of play.
Well, we mentioned it. He's thrown for 82 today. He averages 260-something. But the 4th quarter, he gets the wind, he gets good footing, and I expect things to change.
1st and 15. Swing pass to Pruitt. He catches the ball. Good defense by the 49ers. Ronnie Lott comes up.
And so
along with Jack Reynolds.
Yeah, Big Jack showed a little versatility. I mean, he was on that ball from the time it was snapped.
1 yard, and it didn't come easy.
Kind of understand why he doesn't like to come out in passing situations.
Jack Reynolds has inspired this defense. He demands excellence. Does not speak well of his old team, the LA Rams.
he doesn't speak much. He doesn't say an awful lot. I'll tell you, and he gets his whole team so involved, they feel like they're a little bit beholden to him if they don't look at films 14 or 15 hours a week.
Yeah, he's got his own projector whirling most of the time. At the end of the third quarter, the score is the San Francisco 49ers 12, the Cleveland Browns 5. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Well, he's talking about number 86 down there. That's the tight end. They've shut him down pretty well, so look at that possession time. Almost double.
And a 7-point lead for San Francisco. Cleveland has the ball, second down and 15. Mike Pruitt runs, turns upfield. Good defensive play by San Francisco. Keena Turner, his sticker from Purdue, hits another Boilermaker. Mike Pruitt and Eric Wright, the right side corner, the rookie out of Missouri, was also on the stop.
And you just very seldom see a group that right across the board defensively in the backfield, they all hit. It's one thing to be willing to hit. It's another thing to have the ability and the balance and the coordination to be able to hit, wrap your arms, and make the tackle. I mean, these guys do it with anybody.
They are a hitting group, the 49ers. Their defense has got to be 100% improved over last year. Third down and 7. Sipe has a problem, and the Gold Rush sweeps on in for a second sack today. Archie Reese was the first man there.
Archie's loving it. You can tell by his expression. They've come up with the big plays when they've had 7-point leads in the fourth quarter, and this is a very big one. Fred Dean had a good surge. You see everybody one-on-one. Played a little game that I think the secondary was responsible for the sack because they didn't allow Sipe to throw when he wanted.
An awful lot has to do with good secondaries, how good the pass rush is. They really got the rush on that time on Sipe. And now Steve Cox punts the ball for Cleveland, drives it downfield. Fred Solomon from the 32-yard line turns the corner. Down he goes at the 38. Dick Ambrose comes downfield to make the play on special teams. 46-yard punt and 11-yard return. 49ers in the fourth quarter with a 7-point lead going offense when we come back.
Recently, a few extraordinary ones.
The average, minute, but the possession time has been impressive, and so has the scoreboard from a San Francisco standpoint.
And I think as much as anything, the impressive part is the way they've run the ball to maintain control of it. They've kept it away from Sipe. And you know, everybody gets in the act out here, Don. Take a look at the official. We all fall down once in a while.
Absolutely. 49ers head down the coast to play the Rams in Anaheim next week. Cleveland Browns go back to Cleveland. They'll take on the Pittsburgh Steelers at Cleveland Stadium next Sunday. Right now, 13:27 left to play in the game here at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. 49ers extending their 1-point halftime lead to a 7-point advantage now. We'll be back.
Out here, they have handled things in a first-class fashion. I think the ball club's responded to them in that way. The fans have responded to the ball club. And, I mean, they're even flying east in DC-10s. Now, I mean, that means things are being done the way the game is being played. And I think the players appreciate it.
I'll tell you, in San Francisco, they appreciate the players. Not that they didn't when you were here. There was lean years and good years.
You know another thing? You don't hear anything about the owner in San Francisco.
No.
He's chosen to be quiet and let the fellas play and let the coach coach. I think it's a wonderful formula.
Illegal formation, offense, only 6 men on the line. Refuse, third down.
The Cleveland Browns with their work cut out now. One thing about the Browns over the years, they have an amazing history of success in the National Football League, one of the hallmark teams in the league. If they do have a bad year, they have one. They never seem to have a string of bad years. They're right back. Montana stands in. And there is the Cleveland rush. Last week, the Browns got Craig Morton 6 times. It's harder to get Montana. He's much more mobile. They've sacked him twice now.
I'll tell you, that's pretty darn good. You get Joe Montana twice, that's almost better than getting Craig Morton 6 times. Craig's had 39 sacks coming into today. Joe's only had 8. So you know their whole structure is to throw the ball fast, get rid of it, get back to the line of scrimmage, and they haven't been able to do it on a couple occasions.
Browns will have the wind at their back here in the fourth quarter. I want to ask you about that, John, because you've used it to your advantage many times here. Whoa! Dino Hall has a problem. Free ball, San Francisco. 49ers get the ball. Jim Ring comes down and gets it. Bill Ring.
Yeah, Don, Bill Ring got it. Amos Lawrence made it happen. He got down there before anybody. Dino Hall didn't bobble it very badly, but Lawrence didn't give him a second chance to get on the ball. That's a big turnover for San Francisco.
49ers have capitalized on turnovers. You remember the interception by Dwight Hicks. Man.
Ring was there second, but the man that was there first absolutely made the play.
Famous Amos Lawrence. First and 10 now. San Francisco on the turnover. 49ers leading 12-5 in the fourth quarter. A lot of time left. 12:55 to play. Montana throws off balance. Cleveland gets it back as Ambrose intercepts. And he's down at the 6-yard line. Tip ball, and Dick Ambrose intercepts for Cleveland, so that drive was one play.
All right, you started to ask me what good does the wind have to do with this factor. I'll tell you, in the fourth quarter at Candlestick Park, if you have the wind, it does two things. If they can get any points on the board, put one drive together. They've been totally outplayed all day long. If they can put one drive together, they've got a big edge on the overall outcome.
Not over yet. Browns get the ball back with 12:46 to play in the game. Back after this.
We're Exxon. We're
John. Seagulls overhead.
It's all right to make that mistake.
Right now, they go to Paul Hofer on the run. Takes it inside the 45-yard line. Blockers in front, and Hofer gets all the way down to the 30-yard line. Going to spot him out a little farther back upfield, but it's a big gainer for San Francisco on a first down run. There is a penalty marker, though, down. And a motion penalty is signaled against the Niners. 10:19 to play.
I'll tell you, I don't know what kind of motion it was, but I do know as we look at Dick Ambrose from way over on the left side of the field pursuing the play, he had to, because everyone on the point of attack side of the ball was knocked off the line of scrimmage. You can see he wasn't pursuing down the line toward the line.
Illegal
away from
formation, offense, 6 men on the line of scrimmage, first down.
The second time for that.
They've got to have as many formations as Dallas, don't they?
Oh, sure. They've got formations aren't enough. They've got probably more pass plays, different pass plays, more combinations, more variables than any team.
And there's new ones every week.
Yep.
First and 15. 49ers go to the run. Paul Hofer takes it straight ahead at Cleveland. Clay Matthews is on the tackle. So is middle guard Henry Bradley. It's going to bring up second down about 13.
Usually when you see a game dominated by one side, as this one has been by San Francisco, you don't see your defense hanging in there as well as Cleveland's is. They know one break, and this ball game is theirs.
Ronnie Lott lacerated lower lip, but he'll be back in the game. Fred Dean might not be. The defensive end for San Francisco has a bruised sternum.
He just reopened that cut. Reverse.
Solomon turns the corner. Staying right at home and making the play is Judson Flint. Roundly congratulated by big Lyle Alzado. And so the Cleveland Browns now send the 49ers to a 3rd and 20.
This didn't just happen this week. Last week, you remember, he got kicked out of the ball game, got a 15-yard penalty in a bad situation. That's why. The guy had busted his lip. He said he'd been hitting me all day long. And actually, he got even on an interception. Got a penalty. It was a 50-yarder, in fact. Today, he just reopened it.
Some penalty, 50-yarder. 3rd down and 2. Montana sets up big rush, and Lyle Alzado gets him back at the 47. And so the Cleveland Browns will get it back on a punt now. The Browns getting their 3rd sack of this day as the game clock is down to 8:56 to play in the 4th quarter. Cleveland trailing San Francisco 12-5.
We've talked about Dwight Clark all day long. That time Hanford Dixon played him like a blanket, didn't allow Montana to come to him in a critical situation, and forced the sack.
Jim Miller into punt. Hadn't been in there often with the bare foot. Dino Hall back deep for Cleveland. Well hit ball into the wind. Dino Hall's going to return it, though. It won't be easy. He finds a way, and Dino Hall's in open field. He's across the 40. Puts a move on, and Dino Hall is down to the 43-yard line of San Francisco. On a spectacular return, the sweeping coverage, the red shirts all around him. He takes the ball, jukes and fakes and dekes and weaves his way downfield for one of the best plays of this game.
Don, we've mentioned before, one break away from getting back in a ball game that they really never were in. Dino Hall makes the big play at a critical time. They've got the ball in 49er territory, only 7 points back.
45-yard return by Dino Hall. Francisco was 27th in defending against punt returns this season. And that didn't help their average as Dino Hall ran it back, and adjusted yards were given now. It's 35-yard return. A long ball. Over the outstretched arms of Reggie Rucker. Ryan Sipe trying to get it all back. The Browns are down by 7 with 8:21 to play. A spectacular punt return by Dino Hall. The scores around the league. Pittsburgh opening up 5 touchdown passes by Bradshaw. They beat favorite Atlanta 34-20. Oakland, an underdog, goes down to Miami and wins easily. Denver goes to Tampa Bay. Decided victory. The New York Jets a contender now for sure. The biggest surprise of the day, St. Louis shutting out Buffalo. Second down and 10. Sipe takes a look. Good pass blocking. He stands in. He throws the ball. Charles White catches it. Gets down to the 38-yard line. A gain of about 5. Third down and 5 coming up for Cleveland. The Philadelphia Eagles roll on, extending their record to 9-2. Cincinnati 8-3 following a rout of the LA Rams today. Minnesota decided leader now in the NFC Central. The victory, Green Bay comes back to beat the Chicago Bears. Kansas City over Houston today. Kansas City could go to the playoffs for the first time in a long time. And Dallas holding to a 7-point lead over Detroit. Washington leading the Giants 24-20 in the fourth quarter. Third down and 5 for the Cleveland Browns. Third and 5, and Brian Sipe takes a look. Throws. He's got Greg Pruitt. And Pruitt puts a move on and gets down to the 33-yard line. Greg Pruitt has a first down for Cleveland. They will keep you on the edge of your seat, these Cleveland Browns.
That play was made by Sipe and good pass protection. He goes back. It's a play-action pass. He's trying to hit one of his wide receivers deep. He knows he's got his 2 men coming underneath. When Pruitt gets to the line of scrimmage, he takes off. Sipe knows he's got him coming across the field, puts it right where he has to. We haven't seen Ozzie Newsome all day long. That's why Willie Harper, Ronnie Lott, these 2 guys have been doing their job on it.
It's been one or the other or both. Brian Sipe on first down, eludes the rush, puts it up on the run, and he gets Charles White, who backpedals inside the 25-yard line and down to the 23. Dallas and Detroit now tied 24-all in the fourth quarter. 7:18 to play here at Candlestick Park. Thanksgiving Day. It'll be the Kansas City Chiefs playing the Lions at Pontiac, Michigan, here on NBC. Right now we have 7:18 left to play as the ball is down inside the 25-yard line of San Francisco. The 49ers holding to a 12-5 lead. But the Browns, ignited by the great punt return of Dino Hall, starting to mount a challenge. Second down and 2. Mike Pruitt crashing ahead. He's close to a first down.
Used to be, Don, when it was 2nd and 2, that's when you pulled any play you like out of the hat, and you'd go down deep for the touchdown or what have you. Well, right now, 3rd and 2 is no bargain. These guys stop more than they let go for first down. So you get the first when you can.
Game clock down to 7:12 to play. The chains come out. The Browns waiting to see if they get 4 new downs. Brian Sipe and the Browns could be headed to an OT game, an overtime game for a 2nd straight week, losing the heartbreaker at Denver last week. Cleveland gets the first down. Mike Pruitt has run the ball 14 times. He's gained 64 yards. And Bill Walsh checking out his 49er defense as Sipe comes out to attack it now.
Let's remember, this isn't the first time the Niners have been in a hole. They were in one against Atlanta last week.
Every week.
L.A., Pittsburgh.
Not Dallas.
Everybody but Dallas.
They might etch that in stone here at Candlestick. What was that, 42-14?
Or 45 or something like that, Don.
First and 10 Cleveland. Browns down by 7 in the fourth quarter. End zone. Rucker's there. Touchdown Cleveland.
What a catch.
What a play by the Browns. Brian Sipe throwing the perfect strike, and Reggie Rucker catching the ball. And now if Matt Farr can hit the extra point, we'll have a tie game with 6:46 to play.
Don, that was one of the best plays by a wide receiver that I have seen in some time. When Reggie Rucker went down the field and he got going to the corner, we may be able to see it, we may not.
Yep.
But I saw it from
Great
up here. What he did is he kept his eyes without looking at the ball, never alerted Wright that he was catching the ball, waited to the last second as if he was not a receiver, just put his hands out quick, came down with a touchdown.
Big extra point. McDonald holds. Farr sends it up and through, and the game is tied. Cleveland 12, San Francisco 12. 6:46 to play. So we got a long way to go, right down to the gun again. Now let's swing to NFL 81 in New York and Bryant Gumbel. Bryant?
Okay, thank you, Don Criqui. While you've got a break in the action, let us take this opportunity to show you quickly some of the highlights of Sunday number 11. Big ball game played today in Atlanta, Georgia. There, the Steelers beat the Falcons 34-20. A quarterback's kind of game. Steve Bartkowski had 415 yards through the air, and Terry Bradshaw had a personal best 5 touchdown passes as the Steelers go 6-5. Falcons drop to 5-6. Over in Miami, Mark Wilson threw 3 first-half touchdown strikes, this one to Bob Chandler, and the Raiders beat the Dolphins 33-17. Across the Florida Peninsula over in Tampa, the Denver defense rose to the occasion and shut out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The lone Tampa Bay score was an interception return by Cedric Brown. It tied the ball game at 7, but Denver beat Tampa Bay 24-7. And in a driving rainstorm in Foxborough, the Jets beat up on the New England Patriots. The final in that ball game was 17-6, and it sets up a very big contest next week between the Jets and the Dolphins. Let's go back to Don Criqui in San Francisco.
Great action today, and more coming up next week. These Cleveland Browns going home to play Pittsburgh. The Browns very much in the running if they can come out of this one. There is the man who made a heroic play for Cleveland, the touchdown reception by Rucker. I know it impressed John Brody.
Well, the way he did it is he never alerted Eric Wright that he was going to receive the ball. And Eric, having his back turned, had no clue it was coming, had no chance to defend against it. That's what happens when you played 11 or 12 years. Come up with the big plays like he has, you know what to do in critical situations.
Steve Cox just delivered a kickoff clear out of the end zone, so the Browns in the fourth quarter beneficiaries of that tailwind. And of course the San Francisco 49ers, starting out at their 20, have to work into it to get downfield. Wersching's been great on the field goal attempts. He's hit 4 of 5, and that's been all the scoring for San Francisco. And the Browns scoring on a Matt Farr field goal, a touchdown on a Matt Farr extra point, and a 2-point safety, the first score of the game. 12-12, 6:46 to go, another good one. Montana stands in, throws in the flat. Hofer makes the reception and starts down the sideline, gets to the 29, a 9-yard gain on the play. Ron Bolton made the tackle.
I tell you, this is the most extensive football that Hofer has played all year long, and he looks to be holding up very well under it. The Niners have not been behind in the fourth quarter in several weeks past, and they haven't used much offense. Let's see what they have when their backs are up against it.
And I'm talking to Joey Montana before the game. He said one big difference between the 49ers of '81 and last year is last year he said we'd be ahead in the fourth quarter, and somehow you knew something was going to go wrong. This year we're winning games in the fourth quarter.
And you know something's going to go right.
Yeah.
That doesn't just happen that you get that feeling. You have to have reason to feel that way.
I guess the last time San Francisco's been in the playoffs, John, is when you were 72.
72 we got there, and since then it's been kind of a long, tedious process. But in the last 3 years, they've come quite a ways, and they're all the way back.
San Francisco with the ball, 2nd down and 1. You get a field level shot. Getting right down in the dirt to take a look at a good panoramic view of Kezar from the corner of the end zone. Paul Hofer and Johnny Davis, the setbacks for San Francisco. Look at the numbers, 12-12, 6:10 to play, and the clock running. Hofer, who's been working hard all day, drives it up the middle of Cleveland's defense and gets us San Francisco first down. All Al Hofer. Watch him come out of the blocks.
All right, a great back for many years. Everybody knows his knee injury caused him to sit down for quite a while this year. It looks to me as if he's back. He's running a lot the same way he did in the previous 3 years. Not quite as strong, maybe. Doesn't make the great long runs that he did in the previous years, but he seems to be the consistent back that they can use in key situations to really help him.
He can really catch it. 2 wide receivers set to the left now. They go back to Hofer. Cross pulls. But a fine defensive play is Ron Bolton from the left corner, containing the perimeter, cracks back and knocks down the ball carrier and the pulling guard who was looking to take him out. Submarine cross, and all 3 of them went down. Game clock runs. 5:14 to play. Tie game at Candlestick, 12-12. It was 6-5 San Francisco at halftime, and until the touchdown reception and the extra point a moment ago, the 49ers held a 7-point lead. Now they're working into the wind with 2nd and 11.
Well, we've seen him run wide from this situation in that slop. Nope.
Montana does an excellent job getting the ball away because he was leveled. Marshall Harris was upon him, and so was Lyle Alzado.
He's taking his licks, even though he hasn't had a lot of sacks against him. He waits to the last possible second and fires that ball, but it's really tough to operate where he has to operate now. Against the wind, with very bad footing. And without a big play, they're going to have to give it back to Cleveland with good field position.
3rd and 11. The Browns are going to get it back unless the 49ers can convert here indeed. And now it's 4:50 on the game clock. Interesting formation on 3rd and 11. Solomon goes in motion. Montana digging in, throws it, gets a man, Dwight Clark, but the Browns get him short of the first down, and San Francisco will have to punt. So with the clock running, down to 4:38 to play, Cleveland sends out the return unit, keyed by Dino Hall. The last time he touched the football, you remember, he went 35 yards with a punt return. And subsequently, Cleveland scored the tying touchdown on the pass from Brian Sipe to Reggie Rucker. Jim Miller standing inside his 30. He's punting from a rough area of the field. He knows how to handle it, though. End over end. This will come back at San Francisco. Dino Hall to 23, to the 30. And the full load stick is put on him out there. Leopold, 2nd-year player from Notre Dame, came down to make the hit. So it is a 12-12 game at San Francisco as we start down the stretch. Now back to New York. Bryant Gumbel. Bryant?
All right, thank you, Don Criqui. We continue our look at some of the highlights from Sunday number 11. The day's biggest surprise was in St. Louis. There, the Cardinals shut out the Bills 24-0. The Bills turned the ball over 6 times, and Otis Anderson did the rest. He had 177 yards and 2 touchdowns in the St. Louis win. It was beat up on Baltimore time, only this time the Philadelphia Eagles got to play it. They piled up 550 yards of total offense easily.
Thank you, Brian. As we come back to live action, Brian Sipe on first down throws in. Mike Pruitt connects and gets out to the 40-yard line of Cleveland. There was a gain of over 6 yards on the play. 2nd down and a long 3 for the Browns. Craig Pookie was on the tackle for San Francisco. Game clock down to 3:50, and it's ticking.
49ers are holding on for dear life right now. They've got everything going against them except themselves and their faith in each other, because the wind's with them. The clock means they've got 1 drive left. Excellent field position.
Second down run doesn't gain much as Mike Pruitt works his way and is knocked down again by Reynolds and Pookie. A gain of a couple of yards on the play. 3rd down coming up now for Cleveland. Hacksaw Reynolds, 52 Chevy, was in 2 pieces after the Tennessee team lost to Mississippi one day.
He has a way of demanding things.
Ricky Feature wide to the right. Watch out for Greg Pruitt, set to the right in the backfield. 3rd down and less than 2 for Cleveland. Greg Pruitt catches the ball. Darts ahead, 1st down Cleveland.
Greg Pruitt, we mentioned how good his footing is in this kind of weather. Field conditions the way they are. It looks like he's playing on AstroTurf. Perfect catch, well thrown ball, picks up a 1st down.
That is the biggest 5'9", 190 that's ever been around. So
Whereas, that's right. And
best pocket atlas.
Donnie, whereas usually they'd have to get 20 more yards to be in field goal position, they've got to get more.
Sipe gets away, throws the ball, and it's intercepted and lost. Ronnie Lott had the ball, but wait, there's a penalty marker down way back upfield in the secondary.
Where no one was.
That's right. But it came in from the back judge again. You recall he called the one now that 49ers say it's against Cleveland. That's the signal.
I like to rely on those guys that are standing next to the official.
That's right. You don't have to wait long. This is a young team, the San Francisco team. 3/4 of the players are in their 3rd year or less.
That's right. They've only got one fellow that's played 10 years or more, and that's Reynolds.
Now the Browns will see the yardage marked off against them. 10 big ones back to the Brown 40. Here's the call.
Pass interference. Offense number 82. First down.
Newsom's been fighting through that double coverage all day. This time they call him on an interference.
That's okay. 10 yards is better than an interception, and it looked to me as if it was going to be one.
Amen. Time becoming a very big factor now. 2:36 left to play in the game. Brian Sipe and the Browns set it up at their 40-yard line. 1st and 20. Man's open, Rucker. He's got the ball. He's inside the 30, and he's inside the 25-yard line down to the 22. Reggie Rucker, who caught the tying touchdown pass, just slipped through the zone defense of San Francisco and was wide open, and Brian Sipe was right there for a 38-yard gain.
Beautifully executed, Don. Sam wants a timeout, and I'll tell you what he wants to discuss. As we watch Brian go back, look a little bit shorter. He looked a little left early. Now he comes back over to Rucker, beat the zone, comes up with a big play, but they are not out of the hole. He wanted a timeout because he wants them to run the ball to get it about 4 yards up farther to have a much easier field goal try.
Well, they've got a lot of time now, 2:28 to play. They don't want to score the field goal and give the Niners a lot of time to come back. Hard driving run in Charles White, showing his Heisman Trophy form of a few years ago at Southern California. He's built himself up now, ran at USC at about 184. He's up to 200. Told me he's going to take off about 5, so it's a little too much. 2 pounds makes a difference on a racehorse. I guess 15 makes a difference on a Charles White.
He was great at 185.
Second year. The 2-minute warning is given. Fantastic finishes are the story. We could have one here today at Candlestick Park. Let's watch one now from some time ago. Keneally's been up here. 2 minutes to go. John, what do you look for now? Just crash it straight ahead?
I look for them to take as much time as they can to get the ball down to where they can kick a field goal, give San Francisco very little time. San Francisco really has his back up against it, even though they have a couple timeouts left. It's going to be very tough for them to operate unless they get a good kickoff return if Cleveland does kick a field goal. But they've got to take the timeouts, or Cleveland will run it down to no time at all.
2nd down and 4 coming up for Cleveland. Charles White. He's tough. Doesn't get much. The yards come hard. He keeps it right up the middle, and the game clock is down to 1:52 and ticking. The Browns huddle at their leisure in this tie game. It's a 12-12 game. Bill Walsh, the San Francisco coach.
You're looking at a man who knows what he wants to do with the ball. He's waiting for the timeout. He's talking to his defensive coordinator, Chuck Studley. You can bet after the next play, if they stop him, they'll call a timeout.
1:30 to play, and those are the numbers. 12-12 the game. Cleveland down close on the 38-yard pass play. Brian Sipe to Reggie Rucker, and Rucker was the man who combined with Sipe on the tying touchdown. Pitch back to Mike Pruitt. Eludes Tina Turner, turns the corner, and he's down to the 5-yard line. 1st down, Cleveland Browns. Game clock is stopped at 1:13.
There is nothing the San Francisco 49ers can do to stop Cleveland from at least being able to kick a field goal with no time remaining for them to get back in the ball game. That is what Sam is talking about right now. fact, he's sending it in. Sending another tight end in. Sends him back off. If I'm Brian Sipe, I want a touchdown. Those field goals aren't automatic.
No, they are not. Browns closing in on what could be a very important win for them if they can take it in, and the 49ers aren't giving up much on a 1st and goal. Mike Pruitt runs the ball and gets it down inside the 5-yard line. Keena Turner was on the stop. It's interesting, John, that Matt Barr, who's standing on the sideline on the Cleveland side warming up, was cut by Pittsburgh, came to San Francisco while Wersching was hurt, was picked up by the Browns as a free agent, and it could be his right leg that decides the whole thing before this one's over.
It's funny how the wheel turns, but if Cleveland was ever a team deserving a close victory, they are. Now, today they were totally outplayed. The 49ers had opportunity after opportunity, did not capitalize on them, have not made a touchdown with 6 scoring opportunities. And when that happens, you just know the tide is going to switch.
Matt Barr getting himself ready. Might be an extra point he'll be kicking, though, if the Browns can drive it in. Final score in from Pontiac, Michigan. The Detroit Lions have rallied, and they have defeated the Dallas Cowboys 27-24. Cleveland with the 9th play of its drive coming up. Thanksgiving Day, it will be the Kansas City Chiefs heading to Pontiac to take on Billy Sims and those Detroit Lions here on NBC. Detroit a victor over Dallas today. 55 seconds to go here at Candlestick Park. Don Criqui with John Brody. San Francisco 49ers led at halftime 6-5. They led in the 4th quarter 12-5. Then the Browns struck long and finally got the tying touchdown. Overtime in New York. Washington and the Giants locked up 27-27. Mark Mosley kicked a 50-yard field goal as time ran out to tie it for the Redskins. 2nd down and goal, Cleveland. 4-yard line. 55 seconds to play. Mike Pruitt goes wide. And the young defensive back, Dwight Hicks, comes up and meets him, giving away 50 pounds. He throws him back.
Did 2 things, Don. Ran him out of bounds to stop the clock. If they do it one more time, then they could call a timeout and have a little time left.
Yeah, they're going to have a good one at Cleveland next Sunday. Steelers a big victor over Atlanta today. Heading down the Pennsylvania Pike to the Ohio Pike and on into Cleveland Stadium.
If they get out of this one a winner, yeah, and you can see Calvin Hill sitting over there praying something good happens. If they get out of this one a winner, they are definitely in the playoff picture.
2 tight ends in the game now for Cleveland. McDonald Oden joins Ozzie Newsome. 3rd down goal from the 4. Sipe on a rollout. Calls his own number. Penalty marker's down.
Penalty marker. Don't know who's it on, but if it's on Cleveland and it's 15 yards, it could be big.
Well, we got the 49ers chance against the Browns.
Depends on how many. 5 won't put them in bad.
Illegal procedure. It almost helps when you're that close to the goal at an angle.
Well, I think you'd rather be kicking it from a little closer, Don, to tell you the truth. But I tell you what it does. It stops the clock.
Moving. It is refused. 4th down.
See, they want him. They don't want to give him any. They're liable to give him a timeout to think about it, too. Well, sir, we come down to Matt Barr's right leg and foot. It was rejected here at San Francisco when their regular place kicker came back, and that's understandable. But now this little man who helped kick the Pittsburgh Steelers to 2 Super Bowl championships, ready to possibly decide the game. There's 46 seconds left. It's tied 12-all. It is on the way, and it is good. The Cleveland Browns, with 43 seconds to play, take a 15-12 lead. But 43 seconds to remain.
With 1 timeout left. That's because Cleveland made a mistake by going out of bounds. That would have been 30 seconds. They got a penalty. That stopped the clock again, even though it was refused. And so they've left themselves in a position of being tied when they didn't have to do it.
Here we go again, John.
Here's a good kick. The footing's excellent once you get inside the 20-yard line.
That block get up in the air.
Barr hangs in there and puts it right straight through the middle.
Ronnie Lott at 6 feet went to the moon trying to block it. But Matt Barr hits it, and it's a 15-12 game. The Browns come back to take the lead with 43 seconds to play now. The kickoff by Cox, you remember his last one, it was out of the end zone on the fly with the wind behind him. Candlestick set in somebody's wisdom right on Oakland Bay.
If they can return it, if there's any way to return it from the end zone, I think they have to do it. They have to get good field position. The 20-yard line is not good field position.
Not working into that wind.
Nope.
49ers do have some tricks, though, and they'll use them all in the final 43 seconds. Browns had the ball for 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Cox tees up the ball. You see the Browns have their full complement of timeouts. They don't want to use any of them. 49ers with just one, as you pointed out, John. 15-12 Cleveland. Browns would go to 5-6 on the year. Cincinnati leads the division at 8-3, but the wild card is going to be decided the final day. Boy, he unloads again. Drive. Turn man. Bill Ring all the way back 9 yards deep in the end zone. Another fine kickoff by Cox, and so the Niners come out first and 10, but it's at their 20. 43 seconds to play. All the scores quickly. Pittsburgh over Atlanta today in Georgia. Oakland took an early lead and extended it and then beat Miami. Denver with an impressive win. Its 8th of the season. Jets beating New England first time in 6 years at Foxborough. Upset of the day. Cardinals blank the Bills 24-0. Philadelphia rolls on over Baltimore. Everybody does. Cincinnati 24-10 over Los Angeles. Upset. Minnesota 20-10 over New Orleans. Now to live action. Joe Montana throws a long ball. Freddie Solomon goes for it. Incomplete at the 41-yard line. 37 seconds to play. Back to the scoreboard. Green Bay rallies and beats the Bears 21-17 in the cold of Green Bay, Wisconsin. Kansas City, very much a playoff contender, a victor over Houston. Detroit 27-24, game just completed, beating the Dallas Cowboys. So Philadelphia has a 1-game lead in the NFC East. At Giant Stadium in New Jersey, they still call them the New York Giants, and the Washington Redskins locked up in a tie.
And back here, he's got to get the ball at least 25 yards down the field to get into any kind of field position. So you can bet.
He gets Charles Young. He heads for the sidelines and gets out. Saves the timeout, but only 30 seconds remain. The Niners need a couple of big gainers to get in range.
They do. They need a 20-yard play right now. They've got a timeout left. They'd like to save it as long as possible. But first things first, they've got to get a big completion over the 50-yard line to put themselves in a position where one more would stop the clock and they could kick a field goal.
Boy, it's really hard to handicap this wind. You look at the streamers over the goalpost where the Browns just kicked theirs. They're heading into the 49ers. The flag at the other end's kind of breezing the other way. Swirling. 30 seconds left. Montana gets it away. Dwight Clark goes up for it, but the play is out of bounds. And the game clock shows 23 seconds to play, and the Browns holding to a 15-12 lead. Boy, it's tough to play call here, isn't it, John?
You bet. There aren't any geniuses at this point. You just get somebody open down the seam. You hope they hang on to a very closely contested ball, and you get a big break. The 49ers have had their share. They didn't capitalize. Cleveland did. That's the 3-point difference.
Right down to the wire, just like we like it. 23 seconds to go. Second down and 10, 49ers. They're down by 3 points. Montana, a long ball. Solomon turns out, catches the ball. It is incomplete at the 50. 17 seconds left. And the down marker changes to 3 for San Francisco. 3rd and 10.
Close but no cigar, Don. This is the second pattern that they've run Freddie down the field deep. Cut him to the outside. You can see the ball just starting to hang, but a well-thrown ball. Tell you, I'm not sure he was out. He was ruled out. I think the Browns got a good call that time.
Even if the 49ers do lose today, they'll still have the 3-game lead in the tough NFC West because both Atlanta and Los Angeles were beaten today. So it'll be 3 up with 5 to go. 3rd down and 10. Montana looks, he throws, he fires a strike. Hofer gets it, and he is immediately
called their
by
time.
Judson Flint. Game clock down to 10, and the clock is stopped.
And the case is closed.
Next case.
Anything they throw on the field of play, this game is over. If they don't throw it for a touchdown, they have no time to get another play. If they throw it 40 yards down the field, it'll take 10 seconds off the clock. No more timeouts mean this game is fini if they don't throw for a touchdown right here.
Cleveland will have 4 DBs about 50 yards back downfield. No timeouts left for Montana and the 49ers. The 49er ground crew attending very carefully to that bad turf. Now the 49ers have to work on their own off-field. Certainly no fault of their own that it's an off track. But they'll be putting the ball in play from the 37-yard line right in the middle of the infield that's been resodded. The Washington Redskins win their 4th game of the season, extend their record to 5-6 as they beat the New York Giants 30-27. An overtime field goal by Mark Mosley. He gets a game ball. Mark Mosley kicking a 50-yard field goal for Washington as time ran out in regulation to tie the game. It'll be a good flight back to Cleveland for Coach Vitigliano and the Browns.
You can see Sam over there saying no pass interference, because that's the only way, except if they go all the way, that this game could possibly end any other than a Cleveland victory.
Man in motion early for San Francisco. Intercepted. Judson Flint has the ball. Montana has the play on him, and Judson Flint is down at the 6-yard line. But the football game is history.
Well, wait a minute. We got a penalty down here, Don. I don't know who it's on.
It's got to be on San Francisco, unless.
Well, I tell you, they'll clear him off.
Yep, they're doing that. They're sending the fellas back. Game cannot end on a defensive penalty. Sam says, "Give me a break here, guys.
I've got the feeling
do this to me."
An offense in motion, refused. The game is over.
It is history, sports fans, and the Cleveland Browns score a very impressive win, rallying from behind in the 4th quarter, scoring 10 fourth-quarter points to beat the San Francisco 49ers.